The alarm screamed through Stargate Command's 28th sublevel as Chevron 7 locked with a resonance that made the technician's teeth ache. Master Sergeant Walter Harriman's fingers flew across his console in the control room, his voice tight with professional calm as he activated the base-wide intercom. Unscheduled off-world activation. Iris closure in 3 seconds. The titanium barrier slammed shut 3 micrometers from the event horizon, its surfaces vibrating as the wormhole stabilized behind it. In the gate room below, SF teams took position, P-90s trained on the shimmering blue surface that rippled like disturbed water. The Stargate's inner ring had stopped rotating, but the chevrons pulsed with an angry crimson instead of their usual amber, something SG-1's countless missions had never produced. "Walter, what am I looking at?" Major General George Hammond's voice carried the weight of a man who'd seen alien parasites, time loops, and alternate realities. He stood in the control room's observation window, hands clasped behind his back in a posture that suggested composure, while his gray eyes tracked every anomaly on the screens before him. "Sir, the wormhole's stable, but the energy signature's completely off the charts," Harriman reported, fingers dancing across readouts that made progressively less sense. "It's not matching any known gate address in our database. The power requirements are—" He stopped, recalculating. "General, whatever's trying to come through is drawing enough energy to destabilize the gate network itself. The Stargate shouldn't be able to maintain a connection with this kind of draw." "Receiving IDC?" Hammond's question was procedure, but his tone said he already knew the answer. "Negative, sir. No IDC, no MALP telemetry, no prior mission authorization." "This is completely unexplained." Hammond reached for the base intercom. "All personnel, condition red. Gate room teams, weapons free on my command." The wormhole shuddered. Not the gentle ripple of standard rematerialization, but a violent convulsion that sent feedback screaming through the gate's control crystals. The iris groaned, an impossible sound from solid titanium, and Harriman's console erupted in warnings. "General, something's hitting the iris from the other side. Impact force measuring." His voice cracked. "Sir, that's impossible. Nothing survives contact with the iris at molecular level." The titanium barrier buckled. For 3 seconds, the SGC's final defense held against whatever hammered against it with the force of a meteor strike. Then 2 shapes exploded through the iris in a cascade of molecular disruption and twisted metal, the barrier's fragments spinning across the gate room like shrapnel. SF teams dove for cover as the figures slammed into the concrete floor with enough force to spiderweb the reinforced surface. The first figure rose smoothly from a crater of his own making. Red cape settling around shoulders that suggested immovable strength. Dark hair, strong jawline, and a symbol on his chest that looked almost like hope rendered in an alien alphabet. His eyes swept the gate room with an expression of confusion mixed with concern, and they glowed faintly blue, like sunlight through deep water. The second figure stood with predatory grace, blonde hair perfect despite their violent arrival. His suit was primary colors and corporate sterility, an American flag on his shoulder like a brand rather than a symbol. When he smiled, it was the expression of something that had learned to mimic human emotion without understanding it. "Well," Homelander said, his voice carrying clearly to every corner of the gate room despite the alarms. "This isn't Kansas." Superman's head turned slightly, superhearing cataloging the base around them. Heartbeats, weapons charging, ventilation systems, the hum of technology he didn't recognize. "Where are we?" His voice was calm, controlled. "More importantly, stand down." "We didn't mean to." "Didn't mean to?" Homelander's laugh cut through Superman's attempt at diplomacy. His eyes tracked to the SF teams, to the shattered iris, to the control room window where faces watched in shock. "Oh, this is perfect. Look at them, Clark. Scared little soldiers playing with toys they don't understand. I'd bet they've never seen real power before. John, don't." Homelander's eyes flared crimson. Heat vision lanced across the gate room, deliberately missing the SF teams but carving a molten line through concrete 3 inches from the nearest soldier's boots. The man stumbled backward, weapon clattering. "That's Homelander to you, Kryptonian." The superhero's smile widened. "And these insects need to learn their place in the food chain." Superman moved with speed that defied physics, placing himself between Homelander and the SF teams. "Stand down. We're guests here." Unwelcome ones, clearly, but that doesn't give you the right to threaten them. In the control room, Hammond's hand hovered over the base-wide alarm. "Major Carter, I need options. Now." Captain Samantha Carter stood at Harriman's shoulder, her astrophysicist's mind racing through impossibilities. "Sir, the energy readings suggest they didn't just come through the gate. They came through from somewhere that isn't part of the gate network. Different universe, different dimensional frequency. The wormholes shouldn't have been able to establish at all. Can we contain them?" Carter watched through the window as Homelander floated 6 inches off the ground, a casual demonstration of power that made her throat tight. "Sir, they just punched through our iris. We have nothing that can hold them if they decide to leave. Then we'd better hope at least one of them is reasonable." Hammond activated the gate room intercom. "This is Major General George Hammond, commanding officer of this facility. You've just committed an act of aggression against the United States military installation. I'm willing to overlook the property damage if you're willing to explain yourselves peacefully." Superman's shoulders relaxed fractionally. Military protocol, chain of command, things he understood. "General Hammond, my name is Clark Kent. This is Homelander," the blonde interrupted, still floating. "And before you start making threats with whatever primitive weapons you've got pointed at us, let me save you some time. We're gods compared to you. Your bullets won't work. Your missiles won't work. Nothing you have will work. So here's how this is going to go. John, stop talking." Superman's voice carried an edge now. Homelander's head snapped toward him, heat vision charging. "Don't tell me what to do." The air between them shimmered with potential violence. Every SF team in the gate room felt it, the sense of standing between two hurricanes deciding whether to merge or collide. Hammond's voice cut through the tension like a blade. "Gentlemen, you're standing in the heart of Earth's first line of defense against threats from beyond our world. We deal with false gods, parasitic aliens, and advanced technology that makes nuclear weapons look like firecrackers. You want to impress us with power? We've got filing cabinets full of species that tried that. Most of them are dead now." In the gate room, Homelander's heat vision flickered and died. He studied the general through the window, reassessing. Superman, meanwhile, was looking at the Stargate itself, the massive ring with its chevrons and alien symbols, with dawning comprehension. "This is a transportation device," Superman said quietly. "You travel to other worlds through it. That's why you have military teams, protocols. You're explorers." He turned to Hammond's window. "And we just crashed into the middle of your operation like a meteor strike. General, I apologize. We didn't choose to come here. We were." He glanced at Homelander. "In the middle of a dispute when something pulled us through." "A dispute?" Hammond's tone was dry. "Son, you destroyed our primary defensive system in what looked an awful lot like a fight. I need to know if that fight's going to continue inside my base." Superman met the general's eyes through the reinforced glass. "No, sir. Not from me." All eyes turned to Homelander. The corporate superhero's smile was razor-thin. "Well, Clark wants to play nice, so I suppose I can pretend to be civilized. For now." He drifted lower, boots touching concrete. "But let's be clear, General. We're not your prisoners. We're not your recruits. We're visiting. And if you're smart, you'll treat us like the gods we are." Hammond's expression didn't change. "Walter, get Colonel O'Neill's team back from P2X338. And someone get me Dr. Fraser. I want full medical workups on our guests." He emphasized the last word just enough to make it clear how temporary he considered that status. "Sir?" Carter interjected, still watching her screens. The gate's power systems are destabilizing. Whatever they did to come through, it's left residual energy that's feeding back into the control crystals. We need to shut down and recalibrate, or we risk cascading failures across the entire network. Do it. And initiate lockdown protocol 7. Hammond looked back at the two figures in his gate room, one standing with quiet dignity, one radiating barely contained violence. Let's find out what we're dealing with. Sergeant, escort our guests to holding room 3. Non-aggressively. The senior SF sergeant, a 20-year veteran named Dixon, approached with his P-90 carefully lowered. If you'll follow me, gentlemen. Superman nodded, moving to comply. Homelander laughed, a sound without humor, but followed anyway, his eyes cataloging every face, every weapon, every structural weakness in the facility around him. As they left the gate room, Hammond turned to Carter. Major, I want everything we know about them in 1 hour. Where they came from, what they can do, and most importantly, how we stop them if we have to. Carter's fingers were already flying across her keyboard. Yes, sir. Though something tells me our standard containment protocols aren't going to cut it. Through the blast doors, they could hear Homelander's voice echoing down the corridor. So, what other worlds have you got behind that fancy ring? Because I'm thinking I could use a kingdom or two. Hammond closed his eyes briefly. God help us. We've got 2 of them. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. Indeed. The Stargate powered down behind them, its chevrons going dark. But in the control room, alarms continued to flash warnings about energy signatures that shouldn't exist, about dimensional frequencies that had no place in their reality. Whatever had brought Superman and Homelander to this universe, it had left scars in the fabric of the Gate network itself. And across the galaxy, on a massive Hotak mothership drifting through the void, a Goa'uld system lord's sensors detected something new arriving through the Chapai. Something powerful. Something that could be used. Anubis smiled behind his half-ascended mask and began making plans. Holding room 3 was 28 levels underground, reinforced concrete walls designed to contain Goa'uld prisoners, and equipped with observation cameras that fed directly to Hammond's office. It had held system lords, rogue NID operatives, and once, memorably, an alternate reality version of Colonel O'Neill who'd been slightly less cooperative than the original. It had never held anything like this. Superman sat in the standard-issue metal chair with perfect posture, hands resting calmly on the table. His X-ray vision had already catalogued the base's layout. The armory 3 levels up, the infirmary 2 corridors east, what looked like a massive ring-shaped device in a chamber lined with equipment he couldn't identify. Most importantly, he'd located the surface, and confirmed they were deep inside a mountain. Homelander paced like a caged animal, his boots clicking against concrete with each pass. This is adorable. They actually think this room can hold us. He ran a finger along the wall, leaving a shallow groove in the concrete. I could be through this in 3 seconds. For if I wanted to make it pretty. Then why haven't you? Superman's question was quiet. Because I'm curious. Homelander stopped pacing, turning to face the observation camera with a beauty pageant smile. These people have a working wormhole device. Do you understand what that means, Clark? They're traveling to other planets. Other civilizations. That's not primitive, that's infrastructure. And infrastructure means resources. Resources mean power. Superman finished, his voice flat. You mean control. I mean opportunity. Homelander's smile didn't waver. Think about it. A whole network of worlds, probably filled with people who've never seen real power before. We could. We're not doing anything, John. The moment that door opens, I'm cooperating fully with these people. I suggest you do the same. Homelander's heat vision flickered. You don't give me suggestions. The door opened before the threat could escalate. Dr. Janet Fraser entered with the calm professionalism of a woman who'd performed medical examinations on alien parasites, energy beings, and at least 3 different versions of her own teammates from alternate timelines. Behind her, 4 SF guards positioned themselves strategically, not threatening, but absolutely ready. "Gentlemen, I'm Dr. Fraser, Chief Medical Officer. I need to run some baseline scans before General Hammond will authorize your movement beyond this room." She set down a medical kit that looked more like alien technology than human equipment. "This won't hurt, but I need your cooperation." Superman stood, offering his hand. "Dr. Fraser, I understand completely. Where would you like me?" Homelander laughed. "Oh, this is precious. The Boy Scout routine. Does that actually work in your universe, Clark?" He turned to Fraser with a smile that made her grip her scanner tighter. "Doc, I'm going to save you some time. I'm perfect. Literally engineered to be perfect. Whatever little tests you want to run, I promise you won't find anything wrong." "I'm not looking for what's wrong," Fraser replied evenly. "I'm looking for what's different. This facility deals with alien biology regularly. You 2 arrived through a device that dematerializes and rematerializes matter at the subatomic level. I need to confirm you're both stable." She raised her scanner towards Superman first. The device hummed, displaying readouts that made her eyebrows rise incrementally. "Your cellular structure is extremely dense. I'm reading solar radiation absorption in your cells. You're essentially a living battery powered by sunlight. Yellow sun radiation, specifically," Superman confirmed. "It's how my species evolved on Krypton. Under Earth's sun, we develop enhanced abilities." "Enhanced?" Fraser scrolled through the data. "Mr. Kent, your bone density is approximately 300 times human normal. Your muscle tissue appears to be storing energy in ways our physiology can't replicate. If I'm reading this correctly, you could probably lift a mountain, fly faster than sound, see through most materials." Superman's expression was apologetic. "I know it sounds impossible, Mr. Kent. I work in a facility that has a device capable of near-instantaneous travel to other galaxies. Impossible stopped meaning much around here years ago." She moved her scanner to Homelander. "Your turn." Homelander's smile was fixed as Fraser scanned him. "Go ahead, document and admire perfection." Her scanner beeped with a different tone. Fraser's professional mask slipped for just a moment, a flicker of something that might have been concern. "You're enhanced through chemical means?" "I'm detecting a compound in your bloodstream that's fundamentally rewriting your DNA at the cellular level. Extremely sophisticated bioengineering. Compound V," Homelander said proudly, "made me what I am. The strongest, fastest, most powerful. Unstable." Fraser's voice was clinical. "Whatever this compound V is, it's still actively mutating your cells. You're not evolved like Mr. Kent. You're being continuously modified by an external agent. Your body is in a constant state of controlled transformation." The smile froze on Homelander's face. "Excuse me? I'm saying your powers aren't natural. They're chemically induced and chemically maintained." Fraser met his eyes without flinching. "In medical terms, you're dependent on this compound's continued presence in your system." The temperature in the room dropped as Homelander's expression shifted from corporate charm to something predatory. "Lady, you have 5 seconds to take that back before I show you exactly how stable I am." Superman was on his feet instantly. "John!" The door opened again. This time, Colonel Jack O'Neill entered with the casual confidence of a man who'd stared down Goa'uld system lords and lived to make sarcastic comments about it. Behind him, Captain Carter carried a tablet displaying energy readings, while Tilk's imposing frame filled the doorway with quiet menace. Dr. Daniel Jackson brought up the rear, looking disheveled from their rushed return through the gate. "Wow," O'Neill said, looking between Superman and Homelander. "Doc's report didn't mention the matching color schemes. What is this, a superhero convention?" He dropped into a chair across from them with studied nonchalance. "I'm Colonel Jack O'Neill, 2 L's. This is my team. We're the folks who actually use that big ring you two crashed through. Carter stepped forward, professional curiosity overriding caution. Mr. Kent, the energy signature from your arrival suggests you came from outside our dimensional frequency. The Stargate isn't designed for interdimensional transit. It connects points within our space-time. How did you even establish a connection? Superman shook his head. We didn't. Not intentionally. I was investigating technology in the fortress, my base. Homelander had tracked me there. When we fought, something activated. A rift opened and pulled us through before we could react. A rift. Daniel pushed his glasses up, his archaeologist's mind already connecting patterns. There are legends about the ancients experimenting with dimensional bridges. If your fortress contains similar technology, maybe there's a resonance between. The ancients? Superman's attention sharpened. Who are they? The people who built the Stargate. Carter explained. They're the most advanced civilization we've encountered. Millions of years ago, they seeded our galaxy with the Gate network before they ascended to a higher plane of existence. Tilk stepped forward, his gaze measuring both visitors with a warrior's assessment. You claim you did not choose to come here. Yet your arrival caused significant damage to our defenses. How do we know you are not weapons sent by our enemies? Homelander laughed. Weapons? Please. I'm nobody's weapon. I'm a liability. O'Neill interrupted, studying Homelander with eyes that had seen too many threats to be impressed by posturing. Let me guess. Big powers, bigger ego, thinks rules don't apply to him. We've got a whole galaxy of false gods who think exactly like that. Most of them are parasitic snakes who possess human bodies and demand worship. You'd fit right in with the Goa'uld. Homelander's heat vision charged, red glow building behind his eyes. You want to say that again, Colonel? Sure. You're acting like a Goa'uld system lord. Threats, posturing, assuming everyone's beneath you. O'Neill leaned back, utterly unconcerned with the laser eyes. Here's the thing, though. We kill those guys on a regular basis. It's basically our job description. The room crackled with tension. Superman moved slightly, ready to intervene. Carter's hand drifted toward her sidearm, uselessly, but instinctively. Tilk's expression didn't change, but his stance shifted into something combat-ready. Daniel broke the silence, his voice carrying academic enthusiasm that somehow diffused the moment. Wait. Mr. Kent, you mentioned a fortress. Is that Kryptonian technology? Because if you're from another universe where Kryptonians develop similar dimensional capabilities to the ancients, that could explain the resonance Carter mentioned. The ancients were obsessed with exploring parallel realities. If your people had similar interests. Superman seized the lifeline. Kryptonian science was extremely advanced. The fortress contains technology from my homeworld. It's possible something there created a bridge to your reality. Which means you're stuck here until we figure out how to send you back, Carter concluded. The Gate network doesn't have a reverse function for interdimensional travel. We need to recreate the exact conditions that brought you through. How long? Superman asked. Carter exchanged glances with O'Neill. Weeks. Maybe months. We'd essentially be inventing new physics. Homelander's smile returned, predatory and pleased. Months. Stuck in a universe with a whole network of planets just waiting to meet someone worthy of worship. This just keeps getting better. O'Neill stood, his casual demeanor hardening into command authority. Let me be crystal clear. You're not going anywhere near the Stargate without supervision. You're not making contact with any off-world civilizations. And you're absolutely not setting yourself up as some kind of god. We have strict protocols about that. Protocols? Homelander's voice dripped contempt. You think your protocols apply to me? Actually, yes. General Hammond's voice came through the room's intercom. Because as of this moment, you're both guests under military supervision. Mr. Kent, you've demonstrated willingness to cooperate. I'm prepared to offer you limited freedom of the base and the opportunity to assist with your return home. Homelander, you're confined to quarters until you demonstrate you can function within our command structure. SG-1 will brief you both on the current galactic situation. The universe you've entered is significantly more dangerous than you realize. Superman nodded acceptance. Homelander's jaw clenched, but he said nothing. As SG-1 led them from the holding room, Daniel fell into step beside Superman. So, Krypton? That's your homeworld? Is it gone? Superman said quietly. I'm the last of my people. Daniel's expression shifted to genuine sympathy. I'm sorry. I know what it's like to lose your world. He glanced at Tilk. A lot of us do. Behind them, Carter was explaining to Homelander the basics of Stargate protocol. He wasn't listening. His enhanced hearing had caught something else, voices from deeper in the complex, talking about off-world missions, about planets called Sholak and Abydos, about armies of warriors called Jaffa, about system lords who ruled as gods. His smile widened. The briefing room on level 22 had seen its share of impossible conversations. Today's ranked somewhere between ancient Egyptian aliens are real and we accidentally created a time loop. SG-1 occupied one side of the conference table. Superman sat across from them, posture attentive, while two SF guards stood stationed by the door, a formality everyone knew was meaningless. Homelander had been escorted to separate quarters, a decision Hammond made after Homelander's fourth casual threat in 10 minutes. Carter activated the holographic display projector, reverse-engineered Goa'uld technology that Daniel still found mildly disturbing to use. A three-dimensional map of the Milky Way materialized above the table, thousands of points of light representing Stargate addresses. This is the Gate Network, she began. Over 50,000 functional Stargates across the galaxy, most unhabitable worlds. The ancients built them millions of years ago as an exploration and transportation system. Superman leaned forward, watching the rotating galaxy with undisguised wonder. 50,000 worlds. And you can travel to any of them instantly? With the right address, yes. 7 symbols for local gates, 8 for intergalactic. Carter highlighted several points. But most of these worlds aren't empty paradises. The galaxy has been under the control of the Goa'uld for thousands of years. O'Neill pulled up an image, a serpentine creature with sharp teeth and dead eyes. Meet the galaxy's biggest problem. Goa'uld. Parasitic snakes that crawl into your brain through your neck, take complete control of your body, and then pretend to be gods. R.A. Apophis Osiris. Every ancient Earth deity you can name was actually one of these things wearing a human-like a meat suit. Superman's expression darkened. They enslaved their hosts. Complete mental domination. And everyone around them. Tilk added, his voice carrying the weight of personal experience. The Goa'uld scattered humans across the galaxy millennia ago as slave labor and hosts. My own people, the Jaffa, were genetically modified to carry Goa'uld larvae in our bodies. For generations, we believed the system lords were gods. We worshipped those who enslaved us. Were? Superman caught the past tense. Tilk figured out they were parasites wearing fancy crowns, O'Neill said. He's been helping us kick their asses ever since. It's very inspirational. Daniel brought up images of massive pyramid ships. The Goa'uld system lords control vast territories. They have fleets of motherships, armies of Jaffa warriors, weapons technology thousands of years ahead of Earth's. They're constantly at war with each other, but they're united in seeing humans as property. How many system lords are we talking about? Superman asked. Active? Maybe a dozen major players. Carter pulled up profiles. Baal, Cronus, nerdy. But the most dangerous is Anubis. He's different from the others, half ascended, with knowledge from the ancients themselves. He's been consolidating power, building superweapons, and he doesn't play by the same rules as the other system lords. Superman studied Anubis's masked image. What makes him half ascended? The ancients didn't just build stargates. Daniel explained, warming to the subject. They evolved beyond physical form, became beings of pure energy existing on a higher plane. Anubis somehow achieved partial ascension before the other ascended beings kicked him back down. He retained knowledge and abilities far beyond normal Goa'uld capabilities. And he'd be very interested in you, O'Neill said bluntly. Superpowered alien shows up through the gate. That's exactly the kind of thing that gets system lords excited. They'd either want you as the ultimate host body or as a weapon against their rivals. Superman's jaw tightened. I won't be anyone's weapon. Good. Because we're really hoping you'll be our ally instead. Carter pulled up Earth's position in the galaxy. Humanity is outnumbered, outgunned, and has been fighting this war for about 5 years now. We've got better technology than we started with, mostly stolen from dead Goa'uld, but we're still struggling to survive. The Asgard help when they can, but they're dealing with their own crisis. The Takari provide intelligence, but their numbers are limited. Takari? Goa'uld resistance movement, Daniel said. They're symbiotes who oppose the system lords, take only willing hosts, and work as equals with their human partners. They've been fighting a guerrilla war for centuries. Tilk's expression was grim. The Takari are honorable, but few in number. Against the combined might of the system lords, they can achieve only small victories. It is the Tauri, Earth, that has struck the greatest blows against the Goa'uld in recent years. Small, annoying blows, O'Neill clarified. We're like mosquitoes to them. Very persistent, occasionally deadly mosquitoes. But we're running out of luck and borrowed technology. Superman absorbed this, his strategic mind already working. You mentioned the Asgard. Who are they? Carter's expression softened slightly. The Asgard are actually the source of the Roswell Gray alien legends. They're an ancient, benevolent race dealing with a cloning crisis. Their species is dying because of genetic degradation. But they've been protecting Earth for years. Supreme Commander Thor is probably our closest alien ally. They've got technology that makes the Goa'uld look primitive. So why haven't they defeated the Goa'uld for you? Protected Planets Treaty, O'Neill said. The Asgard can't directly intervene against the system lords without violating their own agreements and triggering a galactic war. Plus, they're currently fighting the replicators. Self-replicating machines that consume everything in their path. The Asgard are stretched thin. Daniel leaned forward. The point is, Clark, this universe operates on different rules than yours. Power alone doesn't solve problems here. The Goa'uld have power, massive fleets, advanced weapons, armies of millions. What they don't have is what makes Earth dangerous to them: ingenuity, adaptability, and refusal to accept subjugation. Teamwork, Superman said quietly. You're saying even someone with my abilities needs to work within your command structure to be effective? Exactly. Carter pulled up mission footage, SG-1 in combat on alien worlds, coordinated tactics overwhelming superior forces. We've survived by being smart, working together, and exploiting every advantage we can find. Individual heroics get people killed in this galaxy. Superman nodded slowly. I understand. You need to know I'll follow orders, respect your experience, and not treat this like I can solve everything alone. O'Neill studied him carefully. That's surprisingly well adjusted for someone who can probably bench press a battleship. I grew up on a farm in Kansas. My parents taught me that power without responsibility is just destruction waiting to happen. Superman met each team member's eyes. I want to help. However I can. But I also need to get home eventually. People depend on me there. We'll work on it, Carter promised. In the meantime, your abilities could be invaluable on certain missions. Reconnaissance, rescue operations, situations where we need. The alarm cut through her sentence. Hammond's voice barked through the intercom. SG-1 to the control room, immediately. They moved as one unit, Superman following. The control room was organized chaos, Harriman's fingers flying across consoles while junior technicians coordinated responses. Hammond stood at the center, his expression carved from stone. Report, O'Neill snapped. O'Neill grabbed AP-90 and began checking the load. And for the love of God, don't catch bullets in front of SG-11. Marines see that, we'll be dealing with rumors for years. In the armory, Carter handed Superman a radio earpiece. Standard team communication. We'll brief you on Jaffa tactics during the gate transit. Tilk approached, carrying his staff weapon with practiced ease. Kal-El of Krypton. That is what you are called in your world, is it not? Superman blinked. How did you? Daniel Jackson has many books in his office. Your symbol is known to me. Tilk's expression was unreadable. The Goa'uld will see you as either the greatest host or the greatest threat they have ever encountered. There will be no middle ground. Then I'll make sure they see me as a threat. Indeed. The gate room hummed with activity as technicians prepped the wormhole. Superman stood with SG-1 at the base of the ramp, watching the chevrons lock with mechanical precision. Each lock resonated through his chest like a second heartbeat. Chevron 7 locked. The wormhole exploded outward in a cascade of energy before settling into its rippling surface. All right, kids, O'Neill said, checking his weapon one last time. Let's go get our people back. They walked into the event horizon together, 3 experienced warriors, 1 astrophysicist, and a Kryptonian who was about to discover that other universes had their own definitions of hell. Behind them, in his quarters, Homelander listened through the walls with enhanced hearing. He'd caught every word of the briefing, every detail about system lords and godhood and galaxies ripe for the taking. His smile was genuine this time. These people had just given him a roadmap. The wormhole was cold fire and pressure and a moment of complete disorientation that Superman's enhanced senses registered as violently wrong. Then he was stumbling out onto volcanic rock under a sky the color of infected wounds, staff weapon blasts carving the air around him. Down! O'Neill's hand yanked him behind a boulder as energy fire scorched the stone where his head had been. Welcome to Netu. Try not to die in the first 5 seconds. Superman's X-ray vision cut through the sulfurous haze, cataloging the tactical situation in microseconds. The Stargate stood on a raised platform behind them. 50 yards ahead, SG-11 was pinned behind the ruins of what might have been a temple, returning fire against at least 30 Jaffa warriors in formation. Staff weapons hammered their position with methodical precision. Carter, assessment. O'Neill barked into his radio. Sir, SG-11's got 2 wounded, running low on ammo. Jaffa have them in a kill box. High ground on 3 sides, no retreat except through the gate. Her voice was clinical despite the chaos. They're executing a standard serpent guard suppression pattern. Tilk, you recognize the armor configuration? Tilk peered around cover, his experienced eye reading the enemy formation. They bear the mark of Binar, Soker's former first prime. These warriors believe they still serve a god. They will not retreat. A scream cut through the weapon's fire. Superman's enhanced hearing identified it instantly. One of the wounded, hit again. Young voice. Barely 20. He moved before thinking. Can't wait. O'Neill's warning came too late. Superman covered the 50 yards in less than a second, a red and blue blur that drew confused Jaffa fire. He slammed into the ground beside SG-11's position hard enough to crack stone, his body shielding the wounded Marine who'd been screaming. Captain Williams, SG-11's leader, stared at him with battlefield shock. What the hell? I'm with SG-1. Superman assessed the Marine's wound, staff blast to the abdomen, severe burns, bleeding internally. How many wounded? 2 critical, 1 walking. Williams ducked as staff fire intensified. Who are you? Someone who can help. Stay down. Superman rose into the Jaffa firing line. 3 staff blasts hit him center mass with enough force to vaporize a human body. The energy dissipated against his skin like warm rain. Through the smoke, 30 Jaffa warriors went suddenly, perfectly silent. In the abrupt quiet, Superman's voice carried across the volcanic plain. I don't want to hurt you. Lower your weapons and walk away. The lead Jaffa, Binar's second, judging by his ornate armor, recovered first. His voice boomed with fanatical certainty. The Chauvet Tauri send a new trick. You will die like all who oppose the gods. I'm not a trick. Superman floated 3 feet off the ground, his cape moving in the toxic wind. And your gods are parasites wearing stolen bodies. I'm giving you one chance to leave peacefully. The Jaffa's answer was a coordinated volley from 20 staff weapons. Superman moved through the energy blasts like they were standing still, his speed making the world slow to frozen frames. He disarmed the first 5 Jaffa with surgical precision, staff weapons crumpled into useless metal, not a bone broken. The next 10 got similar treatment before their brains registered he'd moved. One Jaffa, braver or more foolish than the rest, activated a Zatniktel, the serpent-shaped energy weapon. The blast caught Superman full in the chest. He felt it this time, a nerve-jarring shock that would have paralyzed a human. It made him blink. That actually tingles. Superman crushed the Zat in his hand, then grabbed the Jaffa by his armor straps and lifted him one-handed. Tell your brothers to stand down. Now. The Jaffa warrior stared into Superman's eyes and saw something that transcended his understanding of gods and false gods. He saw genuine mercy restrained by absolute power. His staff weapon clattered to the volcanic rock. Jaffa, Kree! The leader's voice cracked with uncertainty now. The formation wavered, warriors looking between their commander and this impossible being who just invalidated their numerical advantage. Clark, behind you! Carter's warning came through his earpiece. Superman spun. A Jaffa had flanked around, staff weapon aimed at the wounded Marines. His finger was on the trigger. Heat vision lanced out, precise as a scalpel. The staff weapon melted in the warrior's hands, hot enough to destroy the weapon, controlled enough not to harm the wielder. The Jaffa dropped it with a cry, nursing burned fingers. I said I don't want to hurt you. Superman repeated, his voice harder now. But I will not let you kill these people. Choose. Bynar's second made the choice for his men. Jaffa, Hashak! Retreat to the secondary position! The warriors moved with disciplined precision, backing away while maintaining covering formation. Within seconds they'd melted into the volcanic haze, leaving only the ruins and the stunned silence of SG-11. O'Neill emerged from cover with SG-1, his expression somewhere between impressed and irritated. Well, that was subtle. Their wounded need immediate medical attention, Superman said, already kneeling beside the Marine he'd shielded. This one's got internal bleeding. The staff blast cauterized the entry wound, but there's organ damage. Carter was already pulling emergency medical supplies from her pack. We need to get them through the gate. Fraser can stabilize them at the SGC. Tilk approached the discarded Jaffa weapons, examining them thoughtfully. The warriors retreated with honor intact. They will report to their commanders that a being of great power defends the Tauri. This will spread through the Jaffa ranks. Is that good or bad? Superman asked, helping Carter apply field dressings. Both, Daniel said, appearing beside them with his P90 held in an archaeologist's awkward grip. Good, because it might make some Jaffa question if the Goa'uld are really gods. You just demonstrated power beyond what most system lords can display. Bad because every system lord in the galaxy is going to want him. O'Neill finished. Either as a host, a weapon, or dead. Probably all three. He activated his radio. Hammond, this is O'Neill. We have SG-11, 2 critical wounded, requesting immediate medical assistance gateside. And sir, Kent just announced himself to the galaxy in about the most dramatic way possible. Hammond's response was dry. I'm watching the helmet cam footage, Colonel. Dr. Fraser is standing by. Get our people home. They moved quickly, Williams and his team carrying their wounded toward the gate. Superman lifted the Marine with abdominal trauma with infinite care, the young man's weight barely registering. Thank you, the Marine whispered through pain-dulled lips. Thought I was dead. Not today. Superman's voice was gentle. What's your name? Grogan. Tim Grogan. You're going to be fine, Tim. Just hang on a little longer. As they reached the gate, Carter dialed Earth, her fingers dancing across the DHD with practiced speed. The wormhole engaged, its blue surface a doorway home. They were halfway up the ramp when the ground shook. Was that a... Daniel started. The sky split open. Not metaphorically, literally tore apart as a massive pyramid-shaped vessel dropped out of hyperspace directly above them, so large it blocked out the diseased sun. Its surface was black metal inscribed with golden hieroglyphics that hurt to look at directly. Hatak, Tilk identified, his voice tight. Death glider launch bay's opening. We must go now. The first wave of gliders screamed out of the mothership's belly, their distinctive whine cutting through the sulfurous air. Energy weapons began tracking toward the gate. Move, move, move! O'Neill shoved his team toward the wormhole. Superman handed Grogan to Carter. Get them through. I'll buy you time. Kent, don't be stupid. Superman was already airborne, accelerating toward the gliders with speed that left sonic booms in his wake. The first fighter opened fire, energy blasts converging on his flight path. He rolled through them, grabbed the glider's wing, and redirected its momentum straight into volcanic rock. The ship crumpled. The pilot ejected, screaming. 3 more gliders peeled off to engage. Superman destroyed them methodically, heat vision through engines, physical strength crumpling hull plating, superspeed making their targeting computers useless. Within 30 seconds, 6 gliders were burning wreckage scattered across Netu's surface. The Hatak's main weapons charged with a building whine that Superman's enhanced hearing identified as imminent death. Clark, now! Carter's voice through the earpiece. He dove for the gate as the mothership's primary cannon fired. The energy beam carved through volcanic stone like tissue paper, missing him by inches as he hit the event horizon at Mach 3 and tumbled through. The SGC gate room had never seen a Kryptonian make an entrance. Superman materialized at high velocity, hit the concrete floor, bounced, and finally arrested his momentum against the far wall, leaving a Superman-shaped crater but otherwise unharmed. Alarm screamed. The iris slammed shut behind him as energy from the Hatak's weapon tried to follow through the wormhole. The titanium barrier held, glowing cherry red from the heat before the gate automatically disengaged. Superman pulled himself from the wall. Sorry about the entrance. Is everyone? Medical teams were already rushing Grogan and SG-11's other wounded toward the infirmary. Fraser barked orders, her team responding with efficient precision. The gate room organized chaos resolved into practiced emergency protocol. Hammond descended from the control room, his expression unreadable. Mr. Kent. You just started a war. Sir, I saved SG-11. By revealing yourself to what I'm assuming was a Goa'uld mothership. Hammond's voice was controlled fury. Colonel O'Neill, analysis. O'Neill was watching the footage on a portable monitor, his jaw tight. That was a Hatak belonging to Baal's fleet, sir. Judging by the ship's configuration and response time, they were already in the area when we gated in. They saw everything Kent did. He looked up. They saw him destroy 6 death gliders without breaking a sweat and tank a staff weapon barrage that should have vaporized him. Which means... Hammond prompted. Which means Baal knows Earth has a superpowered alien now, Carter said quietly. And he'll tell every other system lord within the week. The entire Goa'uld power structure just got very interested in us. Tilk's expression was grim. They will come for him. The system lords will view Kal-El as either the ultimate host or a threat to their dominion. They will not rest until he is captured or destroyed. Daniel pushed his glasses up nervously. On the bright side, the Jaffa who retreated will spread stories about Superman defending humans. That could inspire more warriors to question the Goa'uld. The rebellion needs symbols and we just painted a target on Earth bright enough to see from Baal's homeworld. O'Neill interrupted. He turned to Superman. Don't get me wrong, Kent. What you did was brave, and you saved our people. But in this galaxy, showing that kind of power is like ringing a dinner bell for every parasitic snake with delusions of godhood. Superman's jaw tightened. So what? I should have let your people die to maintain operational security. No, Hammond said firmly. You made the right tactical choice in the moment. But now we deal with the consequences. He activated the intercom. Sergeant, I want a full security briefing in 1 hour. All SG teams, all department heads. And someone get Homelander to my office. We need to discuss what happens when the Goa'uld come calling. In his quarters 3 levels down, Homelander had watched the entire mission through the security cameras he'd hacked within an hour of arrival. His smile was transcendent. False gods, he whispered to himself. Parasites pretending to be divine. And a whole galaxy that's never seen the real thing. He looked at his reflection in the polished metal wall, adjusting his collar with precise vanity. Time to show them what a god actually looks like. The briefing room felt smaller with Hammond's entire command staff present. SG teams 1 through 6, department heads, intelligence analysts, everyone who needed to understand that the galaxy's power dynamic had just shifted. Superman stood near the back, uncomfortable with the attention. Homelander occupied a corner, arms crossed, that insufferable smile playing at his lips. As of 1400 hours today, Earth's strategic position changed fundamentally. Hammond began, pulling up footage of Superman's engagement with the Jaffa. We now have confirmation that Baal's forces witnessed Mr. Kent's capabilities. Intelligence from our Takare contacts suggests this information is already spreading through System Lord channels. Carter advanced the presentation. We're tracking increased attack movements in sectors adjacent to Earth's gate address. Communications intercepts, courtesy of Takare operatives, indicate at least 3 System Lords have called emergency councils. They're trying to determine if Kent represents a new Tauri weapon or an independent asset they can acquire. Acquire? One of the SG-3 Marines muttered. That's a polite way of saying they want to cut open his head and crawl inside. The Goa'uld view powerful beings as resources. Tilp confirmed. Kal-El's strength exceeds that of any host they have encountered. They will attempt negotiation first, offering alliance, territory, power. When he refuses, they will attempt capture. If capture fails, they will attempt destruction. Daniel pulled up historical references. There's precedent for this. When the System Lords encountered the Asgard, they tried to capture and study them. When that failed, they established the Protected Planets Treaty because direct conflict was too costly. The difference is the Asgard had an entire advanced civilization backing them up. Superman is... He paused, wincing. Technically one person. One person who just invalidated several Jaffa battalions without breaking a sweat, O'Neill added. Which, again, impressive. But it makes him enemy number 1 for every snake who's worried about looking weak in front of the other snakes. Superman finally spoke. What if I make it clear I'm not interested in their politics? I'm here accidentally. Once Major Carter figures out how to send me home, I'm gone. They won't believe you, Homelander said from his corner, his first words since entering. All eyes turned to him. You showed them power beyond anything they have. That makes you either an asset or a threat. There's no neutral in their minds. I should know. I've spent years dealing with people who wanted to control me, study me, or destroy me. The only difference between your Goa'uld and Vought International is the Goa'uld are honest about being parasites. The room shifted uncomfortably. Hammond's voice cut through the tension. Your point, Homelander? My point, General, is that Clark here just declared himself a player whether he wants to be or not. The smart move? Lean into it. Use the fear. Make them understand that Earth is off limits because you've got someone who can pop their little pyramid ships like balloons. Homelander's smile widened. Or better yet, let me talk to these System Lords. I speak their language. Power, dominance, worship. We could have them bowing to Earth within a month. Absolutely not. Superman said flatly. Why not? Homelander pushed off the wall, his casual posture belying the threat in his voice. Because it's not heroic? Because Superman doesn't rule, he serves? Wake up, Clark. This isn't your universe. These people have been fighting a losing war against alien parasites for years. You could end it. We could end it. But you're too busy pretending to be humble to actually help. I help by working within their command structure, Superman shot back. By respecting that they understand this galaxy better than I do. By not acting like my powers make me superior to people who've been fighting this war since before I arrived. Which is exactly why you'll fail. Homelander's eyes began to glow red. They need a god, Clark. A real one. Not a farm boy playing dress-up. Not soldiers with stolen alien weapons. They need someone who can make the hard choices, who can. Enough. Hammond's voice carried command authority honed over 30 years. Homelander, you're dismissed. Return to your quarters. Or what? You'll court-martial me? Homelander laughed. General, I'm doing you a favor by pretending your authority means something. Don't push it. The SF guards by the door tensed. Tilk's hand moved fractionally toward his Zat. O'Neill's fingers drummed his sidearm in a gesture everyone recognized as pre-combat assessment. Superman stepped between Homelander and Hammond. John. Stand down. Make me. The air pressure in the briefing room changed as two pairs of eyes began to glow. One red, one blue. Every person present suddenly understood exactly how small and fragile the mountain around them really was. Gentlemen. A new voice, calm and surprisingly high-pitched, cut through the tension. The holographic projector activated without anyone touching it. The image resolved into a small gray figure, large head, large eyes, slender body. Supreme Commander Thor of the Asgard materialized above the conference table with the casual confidence of someone who'd been teleporting into SGC meetings for years. Thor, Hammond said, relief evident in his voice. Excellent timing. General Hammond. I apologize for the unannounced visit, but I have been monitoring Earth's gate activity. The arrival of two-dimensionally displaced beings with significant power signatures warranted investigation. Thor's large eyes focused on Superman and Homelander in turn. I am Supreme Commander Thor of the Asgard Fleet. You are Clark Kent and John, correct? Superman's eyes stopped glowing. He nodded cautiously. That's correct. Your Asgard? Major Carter mentioned your people. Indeed. The Asgard have been allies of the Tauri for several years. We have a vested interest in Earth's survival. Thor's hologram moved closer to Superman. Your biological structure is fascinating. Fundamentally humanoid, but with cellular density and energy absorption capabilities that suggest evolution under specific stellar radiation. I would very much like to study you, with your permission. With permission? Homelander sneered. How refreshingly quaint. Tell me, Commander Thor, do you ask the System Lords for permission before studying them? The System Lords are parasitic criminals who have enslaved billions. You are a guest in an allied facility. Thor's voice remained level, but something in his tone suggested he'd vaporized beings far more threatening than Homelander without raising his voice. The distinction is significant. Hammond seized the opportunity. Thor, what's the Asgard assessment of our current situation? Problematic. Thor pulled up a holographic star map. Our intelligence network indicates Baal has already contacted you, Nerdy, and Alakan regarding Mr. Kent's appearance. They are currently debating whether to approach Earth with offers of alliance, or simply attack in force to capture him. More concerning, we have detected unusual activity from Anubis. Carter leaned forward. What kind of activity? 3 of his Hotak vessels departed his primary stronghold 6 hours ago, heading towards sectors adjacent to your gate network. Anubis does not move ships without purpose. I believe he intends to make contact with Mr. Kent personally. Anubis. Daniel's face paled. Thor, if Anubis gets his hands on Kryptonian biology, combines it with ancient technology, it would be catastrophic. Thor agreed. Anubis already possesses knowledge beyond other Goa'uld. Granting him access to a biological template that can absorb energy and generate nearly unlimited physical force would make him unstoppable. The Protected Planets Treaty would be meaningless. The Asgard fleet would be insufficient to contain him. Silence settled over the room like a shroud. So what do we do? O'Neill asked. We can't just hand Kent over to the snakes, and we can't exactly hide him. Half the galaxy already knows he's here. I have a proposal, Thor said. Mr. Kent, would you be willing to meet with the Asgard High Council? We have technology that might help you return to your home universe. In exchange, we would ask for your assistance in protecting Earth from Anubis during the time required to develop the dimensional gateway. How long are we talking? Superman asked. Weeks. Perhaps a month. Thor's expression was difficult to read. Anubis will not wait longer than that. He will view your presence as either an opportunity or an existential threat. Either way, he will act. And what about me? Homelander stepped forward. Do I get an invitation to meet your High Council? Or am I just here as Clark's less important shadow? You are here as a liability, Thor said with Asgard bluntness. Your psychological profile suggests narcissistic tendencies, lack of empathy, and violent responses to perceived disrespect. These are precisely the characteristics that define Goa'uld system lords. We would prefer you remain under Earth's supervision. Homelander's heat vision flickered. Bad answer. John. Superman's voice carried warning. Don't what? Don't react when some gray alien insults me? Don't defend myself when everyone in this room is treating me like a criminal? Homelander's smile was razor sharp. I'm done being managed, Clark. By what? By you. By these people who think their little mountain base means anything. He moved toward the door. The SF guards raised weapons uselessly. You're confined to quarters, Hammond said firmly. No, General. I'm leaving. I'm going to find a planet where people understand that power deserves respect. Maybe I'll visit these system lords everyone's so afraid of. Compare notes on godhood. Homelander looked back at Superman. Try to stop me, and we'll see which of us is really stronger. I will stop you, Superman said quietly. Will you? Homelander's eyes glowed fully red now. Will you kill me, Clark? Can you? Because I've got no problem testing that question right here, right now, in front of all these people you're trying so hard to impress. The temperature spiked as heat vision charged. Superman's muscles tensed, preparing to move at speeds that would tear the mountain apart. Teleportation in 5 seconds. Thor announced calmly. Light enveloped Homelander. Asgard beaming technology, instantaneous and irresistible. The corporate superhero's heat vision fired into empty air as he dematerialized mid-threat, transported somewhere beyond his control. Thor's hologram flickered. Homelander has been relocated to an Asgard research vessel in high orbit. He will remain there under observation until a more permanent solution can be arranged. Our containment field should hold him, though I make no guarantees. O'Neill let out a breath he'd been holding. Thor, buddy, you just became my favorite alien. Again. The situation remains serious. Thor continued. Mr. Kent, will you accept our proposal? Work with the Asgard while we attempt to return you home, in exchange for protecting Earth from Anubis? Superman looked at Hammond. General? Your call. Hammond studied the Man of Steel for a long moment. Mr. Kent, you've demonstrated good judgment and respect for command authority. If Thor believes this is our best option, I'm inclined to authorize it. But understand, if Anubis comes for Earth, you'll be fighting a war unlike anything you've faced before. General, I've fought alien invasions before. I've faced beings trying to remake reality itself. I won't pretend to know everything about your galaxy, but I know how to protect people. Superman's voice carried quiet conviction. If Anubis threatens Earth, I'll stand with you. All of you. Tilk stepped forward, his expression solemn. He placed a fist over his chest in Jaffa salute. Then you stand with warriors, Kal-El. It will be an honor. Just try not to break any more irises. O'Neill added. Those things are expensive, and Kinsey's already up my ass about the budget. I'll do my best. Thor's hologram nodded. I will arrange transport to the Asgard homeworld within the hour. General Hammond, I recommend doubling your gate security and preparing contingencies for System Lord contact. They will come, one way or another. As the briefing dissolved, Carter approached Superman. For what it's worth, you made the right choice. Both on Netu and here. Did I? I just agreed to fight a war in someone else's universe. You agreed to help people who need it. Daniel corrected, joining them. That's what you do, right? Regardless of which universe you're in? Superman managed a small smile. Yeah. I guess it is. Above Earth, in an Asgard vessel cloaked from detection, Homelander tested the containment field for the 14th time. It held barely. He could feel the energy barrier straining against his strength. Interesting, he murmured. Very interesting. And across the galaxy, aboard a Hatak that existed partially in normal space and partially in ascended reality, Anubis studied the footage of Superman's combat performance. Perfect, he whispered behind his mask. Absolutely perfect. The Asgard mothership Bilskirner materialized in Earth's orbit without fanfare, no dramatic entrance, just the sudden presence of a vessel that could destroy continents if its crew chose to. Within minutes, a beaming platform in the SGC's gate room activated, and Superman found himself standing in white light that dissipated to reveal an interior that looked more like an Apple store than a warship. Thor stood waiting, his small frame somehow commanding despite barely reaching Superman's chest. Welcome aboard, Kal-El. I hope the transport was not too disorienting. It was sufficient. Superman looked around the pristine corridors, noting the holographic interfaces and the complete absence of crew. Where is everyone? The Bilskirner operates with a crew of 107. Most are currently occupied with ship functions or our ongoing conflict with the replicators. Thor began walking, his small legs moving with surprising speed. I thought it best to minimize your exposure to our people until the High Council makes their assessment. Some Asgard find your biological capabilities unsettling. Because I'm an alien? Because you are biologically viable in ways we have not been for millennia. Thor's tone carried something that might have been wistfulness. The Asgard reproduce through cloning. We have done so for thousands of years. Each generation is a degraded copy of the previous. We are dying as a species, Kal-El. Slowly, but inevitably. They entered a chamber that was part laboratory, part throne room. Holographic displays showed DNA strands, energy signatures, and what Superman recognized as footage of himself fighting on Netu. 5 Asgard materialized via hologram, the High Council, judging by their formal bearing. Kal-El of Krypton. The Central Asgard began. I am Freyr, leader of the High Council. We have observed your arrival in this reality with great interest. You represent a biological impossibility by our current understanding of physics. I've heard that before, Superman said carefully. On my Earth, scientists struggle to explain how I work too. Something about yellow sun radiation and Kryptonian cellular structure. Another council member, female presenting by voice, spoke up. We are Pentacle. Our preliminary scans suggest your cells function as organic solar collectors, storing energy in quantum states that should not be stable at biological temperatures. You are, effectively, a living violation of thermodynamics. Is that why you wanted to meet me? To study how I violate physics? Partially, Thor admitted. But also to propose an exchange. The Asgard have been researching dimensional transit for centuries. We have technology that could theoretically return you to your home universe. However, the power requirements are significant. A holographic model appeared, a massive ring structure, similar to a Stargate but orders of magnitude larger. This is the Asgard Dimensional Gateway. It has never been successfully tested at the scales required for cross-universal travel. The energy requirements would drain our entire fleet's power reserves and potentially destabilize the wormhole, killing anyone inside. Superman studied the design. But you think I could survive the instability? More than survive, Freyr said. Your ability to absorb energy suggests you could actually stabilize the wormhole from within by acting as a living capacitor. You would experience the full force of dimensional shear, but based on your demonstrated durability, we calculate a 73% survival probability. 73%. Superman's jaw tightened. And the other 27%? Molecular dissociation across infinite parallel realities. Pentagle said clinically. Your consciousness would be distributed across every possible universe simultaneously. Effectively, you would cease to exist in any meaningful form. The chamber fell silent. There is another consideration, Thor continued. Building the gateway will take time. 3 weeks minimum, possibly 4. During that time, Anubis will not remain idle. He will seek you out, attempt to capture or destroy you. Earth will be at risk simply because you are there. So you want me to protect Earth while you build a maybe functional death machine? Superman said flatly. We want you to buy humanity time. Frere corrected. The Tauri are valuable allies. They possess ingenuity and adaptability that reminds us of our own species before we chose the path of cloning. If Anubis conquers Earth, the balance of power in this galaxy shifts irreversibly. The Goa'uld will have won. Superman turned to Thor. And Homelander? What happens to him? Your companion presents a unique problem. Thor pulled up psychological profiles, combat assessments. His power level is comparable to mid-tier Goa'uld technology. Formidable against humans, insufficient against major threats. But his psychological profile is deeply concerning. He exhibits classic symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder with sociopathic tendencies. In your universe, was he a hero? He was marketed as one. Superman said carefully. A corporate superhero. America's greatest defender. But the truth was complicated. The company that created him, Vought, controlled his image carefully. Behind closed doors, John was unstable, violent, and completely unaccountable. Then you understand our concern. A being with his power and mindset would be catastrophic if allowed to interact with system lords. They would either enslave him through manipulation, he craves worship and validation, or he would attempt to become a system lord himself. Can you hold him? Thor's expression was troubled. Our containment fields are designed to restrain replicators and contain Goa'uld prisoners. They were not designed for someone with Homelander's specific capabilities. He has already tested the barriers 17 times. Each test shows him learning, adapting. We calculate he will breach containment within 60 hours. Then what's the plan? That depends on you, Frere said. If you assist us, the Asgard will dedicate resources to containing Homelander indefinitely. We have facilities that can hold him until a more permanent solution is found, either returning him to your universe or finding an uninhabited world where he can live without threatening others. And if I refuse to help? Then we will still attempt to return you both home, but our resources will be divided. Earth will be more vulnerable. Anubis will likely succeed in whatever plan he is formulating. The galaxy will suffer. Thor met Superman's eyes. We are not attempting to manipulate you, Kal-El. These are simple facts. Superman walked to the viewport, looking down at Earth, a blue marble against the void, so similar to his own planet yet fundamentally not home. On my Earth, I made a choice a long time ago. I had powers that could change the world, and I chose to use them to help people. Not to rule them, not to remake them in my image. Just help. And that choice has defined you, Thor said quietly. Yeah. It has. Superman turned back to the council. I'll help. Not because you're leveraging Earth's safety, but because it's the right thing to do. People are in danger. I can help protect them. That's enough. Frere's expression might have been relief. The High Council accepts your terms. We will begin construction of the dimensional gateway immediately. In the meantime, you will work with SG-1 to counter any moves Anubis makes. There is one more thing you should know, Pentagle added. Our intelligence network has intercepted communications between system lords. They are aware of your capabilities but uncertain of your loyalties. Some propose alliance. Others propose capture. But Anubis. She paused. Anubis has proposed something else entirely. The holographic display shifted, showing decoded Goa'uld communications. Superman couldn't read the alien script, but Thor translated. Anubis has offered the system lords a deal. If they stay out of his way, he will capture you, study your biology, and use it to create an army of enhanced Jaffa. Super soldiers with Kryptonian-derived powers. He claims this army would allow the Goa'uld to finally crush the Asgard, the Takare, and any remaining human resistance. Can he actually do that? Superman asked. Unknown. Thor admitted. Anubis possesses ancient knowledge we don't fully understand. If he could isolate the genetic factors that allow your cells to absorb solar radiation, combined with Goa'uld cloning technology, it's theoretically possible. Then we can't let him get close enough to try. Indeed. Thor gestured, and a holographic timer appeared. Construction of the gateway begins now. Estimated completion, 22 days. During that time, you will be Earth's first and possibly last line of defense against whatever Anubis sends. No pressure. Superman muttered. Actually, significant pressure. Pentacle said, missing the sarcasm. The fate of multiple civilizations depends on your success. Also, you should know that in our containment facility, Homelander has been demanding to speak with you. He claims he has information about Anubis's plan. John doesn't have information about anything here. He's been in containment since he arrived. Nevertheless, he is quite insistent. He has threatened to breach containment unless you visit him. Thor's tone suggested this was merely annoying rather than threatening. We can suppress his attempts indefinitely, but his continuous testing of our barriers is distracting. Superman sighed. Take me to him. Let's get this over with. Minutes later, Superman stood before a containment cell that looked like a crystalline cage filled with shifting energy fields. Inside, Homelander floated in a meditation pose that would have been serene if not for the manic intensity in his eyes. Clark. Finally. Homelander's smile was genuine relief mixed with something darker. I was beginning to think you'd forgotten about me up here. What do you want, John? Want? I want to go home. But since that's apparently going to take weeks, I want to make a deal. Homelander floated down, approaching the energy barrier. These Asgard are smart, Clark. Really smart. But they're also dying. Their whole species is circling the drain because they can't reproduce naturally anymore. You know what that means? That they're desperate. That they're weak. Homelander's eyes gleamed. They're holding me now, but they can't hold me forever. And when I get out, and I will get out, I'm going to find these system lords everyone's so afraid of. I'm going to show them what a real god looks like. You're not a god, John. You're just a man with powers who never learned what responsibility means. And you're a farm boy who never learned that power is wasted on protecting people who can't protect themselves. Homelander pressed close to the barrier. But here's the thing, Clark. I've been listening to their communications. This Anubis guy? He's not like the other snakes. He's half ascended, whatever that means. He's got powers beyond normal Goa'uld. Powers that might actually challenge us. So maybe we should be worried about what happens when he shows up. Maybe we should stop pretending we're on different sides and start accepting that in this universe, we're the same thing, aliens with godlike powers that everyone wants to control or kill. Homelander's smile faded. Work with me, Clark. Together, we could end this war in a day. Rule this galaxy. Make it better. Superman met his eyes through the energy field. I'm not interested in ruling anything, John. And I'm definitely not interested in working with someone who sees people as insects. Then you're a fool. And when Anubis comes for you, when he brings technology and power you can't imagine, don't come crying to me for help. I won't need to. I've got SG-1. I've got the Asgard. I've got actual allies who understand that strength isn't about domination. Homelander's laugh echoed through the containment facility. Allies. Right. We'll see how long those allies stick around when Anubis shows them what real power looks like. Superman turned to leave. Clark. Homelander's voice stopped him. One more thing. That farm boy morality you're so proud of? It's going to get you killed here. This universe doesn't reward heroes. It rewards survivors. Then I guess I'll have to prove you wrong. As Superman beamed back to Earth, Homelander tested the barrier one more time. 18 attempts now. Each one teaching him something new about Asgard technology. 60 hours, Thor had calculated. Homelander smiled. He'd do it in 40. The SGC briefing room had become a war room. Maps of gate addresses covered the walls, intelligence reports from Takare operatives stacked on every surface, and a palpable tension that came from knowing an ascended demigod was planning your destruction. Jacob Carter, Major Samantha Carter's father and host to the Takare symbiote Selmak, stood at the head of the table, his eyes briefly flashing with the symbiote's luminescence as he processed information in real time. The Takare High Council has confirmed our worst fears. Anubis has withdrawn 3/4 of his fleet from active campaigns. He's consolidating power around his primary stronghold in the Tobin system. Consolidating for what? O'Neill asked, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer. For an assault on Earth. Jacob's voice carried Selmak's dual resonance now, the symbiotes speaking through their shared vocal cords. Our operatives intercepted communications between Anubis and his first prime, Herak. Anubis is not interested in negotiation or gradual conquest. He wants Kal-El captured, studied, and replicated within the week. Superman stood by the window, arms crossed. How does he plan to capture me? Everything I've seen suggests Goa'uld technology, while advanced, isn't powerful enough to restrain me. Anubis has access to ancient knowledge, Daniel explained, pulling up files on his tablet. When the ancients ascended, became beings of pure energy, they took most of their advanced technology with them. But Anubis achieved partial ascension before he was kicked back down to our plane by the other ascended beings. He retained knowledge that no other Goa'uld possesses. Carter brought up schematics. We've encountered some of his technology before. Ancient designed weapons, shields that adapt to attacks, energy absorption matrices. If Anubis has found ancient devices specifically designed to contain powerful beings, he could have something that actually works on me. Superman finished. Understood. What's the tactical situation? Tilk activated the star map. Intelligence suggests Anubis will not attack Earth directly. The Protected Planets Treaty and Asgard monitoring make direct assault costly. Instead, he will lure you off-world. Lure me how? By creating a crisis you cannot ignore, Selmak said through Jacob. The Takare have identified 17 human worlds on Anubis's strike list. All defenseless, all recently liberated from Goa'uld control. He will attack one or more, forcing you to respond, then ambush you with technology specifically designed to counter your abilities. O'Neill leaned back in his chair. Classic trap. Bad guy threatens civilians, hero flies in to save the day, gets jumped by overwhelming force. He looked at Superman. How many times has Lex Luthor pulled that on you? More than I'd like to admit. Superman said quietly. But what's the alternative? Let innocent people die to avoid the trap? No, Hammond said firmly. We spring the trap on our terms. Major Carter, what assets do we have available? SG-1 through SG-6 are ready for deployment. Colonel Makepeace's team can provide backup. The Takare have offered 3 operatives for intelligence gathering. And the Asgard. She paused. Thor says the Bilskirner can provide orbital support for 1 engagement, but they can't risk their last mothership on multiple operations. 1 engagement might be all we get, Daniel said. If Anubis commits fully, this could be the decisive battle. Either we stop him here, or Earth becomes a target for every system lord who wants Kryptonian DNA. Superman turned from the window. Then let's make sure we stop him. What's the most likely target? Jacob and Selmak consulted internal memory. The Takari predict he'll strike Langara first. It's a human world with valuable Nequadria deposits. An unstable, more powerful variant of Nequada. The planet has strategic value and a population of approximately 50 million. If Anubis conquers it, he gains both resources and leverage against you. When? Within 48 hours, based on fleet movements. Hammond stood. Then we have 2 days to prepare. SG-1, you'll accompany Mr. Kent to Langara and coordinate with local resistance. Major Carter, I want every possible countermeasure to ancient technology ready. Dr. Jackson, research anything we have on ancient containment devices. Tilk, reach out to Bratak. We need Jaffa intelligence on Anubis's tactics. Sir, Carter interjected. There's another factor. Homelander. Thor's latest report says he's getting close to breaching containment. If he escapes while we're off-world, Thor will handle it, Superman said, though his voice carried uncertainty. The Asgard have contained worse than John. Have they? O'Neill's question hung in the air. Because from where I'm sitting, we've got one super-powered alien trying to help us and another who's one bad mood away from declaring himself the new RA. If Homelander gets loose while Anubis attacks, then Earth faces threats from 2 directions. Hammond finished. He looked at Superman. Mr. Kent, I know he's from your universe, but I need to ask, if Homelander escapes and threatens this facility or Earth, can you stop him? The question everyone had been avoiding, finally spoken aloud. Superman's expression hardened. John is powerful, but he's never faced someone who can match him physically. In our world, I was always stronger, faster, more durable. If he forces a confrontation, he paused. Yes, General. I can stop him. I just don't know if I can do it without killing him. The briefing room absorbed that statement in silence. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Hammond said finally. Dismissed. We gate to Langara in 36 hours. Use the time wisely. As the room cleared, Jacob approached Superman. Kal-El, a word? They walked to an empty corridor. Jacob's eyes flashed, Selmak taking primary control. We wanted to speak with you privately. The Takari have existed for 2,000 years fighting the Goa'uld. We have seen empires rise and fall, seen powerful beings try to change the galaxy through force. Most fail because they fundamentally misunderstand the nature of power in this universe. I'm not trying to change anything, Superman said. I'm just trying to help until I can go home. We know. That is why we trust you. Selmak's voice carried ancient weight. But understand, Anubis is not like other Goa'uld. He does not crave worship or political power. He craves knowledge, perfection, ultimate understanding. You represent something he has never encountered, biological capabilities that exceed ancient engineering. He will not stop until he possesses that knowledge, even if it means dissecting you molecule by molecule. I've faced scientists who wanted to vivisect me before. Not like this. Jacob's face showed genuine concern now, father worried for his daughter's ally. Anubis has ancient technology that can break down matter to its component atoms and reconstruct it. He has devices that can trap consciousness separate from body. If he captures you alive, death would be a mercy compared to what he'll do. Superman met the symbiote's gaze. Then I won't let him capture me alive. See that you don't. Because if Anubis succeeds in creating Kryptonian-enhanced Jaffa, the war is over. The Goa'uld win. The galaxy falls into permanent darkness. Selmak released control, letting Jacob speak with his own voice. And Sam, Major Carter, she believes in you. Don't make me explain to my daughter how the alien I vouched for got himself dissected by an ascended snake. Superman managed a slight smile. I'll do my best, sir. 30 levels above, in the communications room, Sergeant Harriman received an encrypted transmission from Thor. The Asgard's face on the screen looked troubled, as much as Asgard faces could show emotion. Sergeant, I need you to relay a message to General Hammond. Homelander's containment is failing faster than projected. We are implementing final stage protocols, but I estimate no more than 18 hours before breach. If Superman is off-world when Homelander escapes, I'll inform the General immediately, Harriman said, his professional calm masking internal panic. Also, inform him that we have detected unusual subspace fluctuations near Earth's gate address. Something is masking its signature, but our sensors suggest a cloaked attack in Earth's solar system. Given the sophistication of the cloaking technology, we believe it belongs to Anubis. Harriman's hands froze over his keyboard. He's already here? It appears so. The vessel has taken no aggressive action, merely observing. We suspect Anubis is studying Earth's defenses and Superman's capabilities before committing to assault. Tell General Hammond to assume all base activities are being monitored by hostile forces. The screen went dark. Harriman reached for the phone to Hammond's office, his mind racing. A cloaked enemy ship watching their every move. Homelander 18 hours from freedom. And in 36 hours they were sending their best people and their most powerful asset directly into Anubis's trap. The phone rang twice before Hammond answered. Sir, we have a problem. Actually, we have 3 problems. In the Takare tunnels beneath an abandoned world, an operative named Aker received a coded message through his communication device. He read it once, twice, then burned the message crystal according to protocol. The message was brief. Anubis has deployed the Kull warriors. Ancient designed armor, impervious to conventional weapons, shields that adapt in real time. 16 confirmed units en route to Langara intercept point. Takare High Council recommends mission abort. Aker looked at his second, a human named Stevens who'd been blended with a Takare symbiote for 3 years. Should we warn them? The Tauri are already committed. Stevens' symbiote answered through their shared voice. Warning them now changes nothing except giving them time to fear. They're walking into a massacre. They're walking into a war. There's a difference. But Stevens' human half wasn't convinced, and the symbiote could feel the host's doubt bleeding through their mental connection. On Langara, 50 million people went about their daily lives, unaware that their world had just become the center of a galactic crisis. Farmers tended fields. Children attended schools. Leaders debated politics that would become meaningless in 48 hours. Above them, undetected by their primitive sensors, Anubis's fleet completed the final jump from hyperspace and took position in high orbit. Herak, first prime of Anubis, stood on the bridge of the flagship and watched the planet turn beneath them. Behind his ornate armor, he felt the symbiote within his pouch, the larval Goa'uld that granted him strength and healing, pulse with anticipation. My lord, he said, addressing the half-ascended figure that stood shrouded in robes nearby. The fleet is in position. 16 Kull warriors have been deployed to intercept points. Ancient containment technology is armed and ready. We await your command. Anubis's voice came from everywhere and nowhere, resonating with power that made even his own first prime uncomfortable. Patience, Herak. The Kryptonian will come. They always do. Heroes cannot resist the call of innocence in peril. And if the Asgard intervene? They will not risk their last mothership on a single engagement. Thor is too cautious. Too evolved. The word dripped with contempt. By the time they realize this is not a single engagement, but the beginning of a new era, it will be too late. Anubis moved to the viewport, his form flickering between solid and energy. Do you understand what we are about to achieve, Herak? For millennia, the system lords have conquered through technology stolen from lesser beings. But the Kryptonian offers something unprecedented, biology that defies physics itself. Imagine Jaffa warriors with his strength, his speed, his invulnerability. Imagine armies that cannot be killed, cannot be stopped, cannot be reasoned with. The galaxy would kneel, my lord. The galaxy would cease to matter. With Kryptonian enhancement, we will be ready to face the ancients themselves. To challenge those who ascended and claim our rightful place among them. Anubis's laughter echoed through the ship, and every Jaffa warrior aboard felt their symbiotes recoil in instinctive fear. Prepare the trap, Herak. In 48 hours, we capture a god. The Stargate activated at 0600 hours, its chevrons locking with mechanical precision that had become almost comforting to Superman over the past few days. SG-1 stood ready, weapons checked, tactical gear secured. Superman wore his suit. The blue and red seemed out of place among military fatigues, but Carter had explained that psychological impact mattered in warfare. Remember, O'Neill said, checking his P-91 final time. We go through, we assess the situation, we coordinate with local resistance. No heroic solo charges until we know what we're dealing with. Understood, Colonel. Superman adjusted the radio earpiece Carter had given him, military-grade encryption, though he suspected Anubis could crack it if motivated. Hammond descended from the control room, his expression grave. SG-1, I've just received updated intelligence from the Takare. Anubis has deployed co-warriors to Langara. These are not standard Jaffa. They wear ancient-designed armor that makes them nearly invulnerable to conventional weapons. Energy shields, strength enhancement, adaptive defenses. Nearly invulnerable. Superman repeated. But not completely? The Takare destroyed one using a weapon specifically designed to penetrate ancient shields. We've brought 3 of these weapons with us. Carter held up what looked like a modified Zatnik Tel. The problem is rate of fire. These take 30 seconds to recharge between shots. Against 16 co-warriors, we'll be overwhelmed. 16? Daniel's voice cracked slightly. We're walking into an ambush with 16 super soldiers waiting for us? We're walking into an ambush with you, Tilk said, nodding to Superman. That changes the tactical equation significantly. Hammond activated the intercom. All teams, be advised. This is a volunteer mission only. If anyone wants to stand down, now's the time. No one moved. Then Godspeed, people. Bring our allies home safe. Hammond's hand hovered over the iris control. And Mr. Kent, don't do anything stupidly heroic. Superman smiled faintly. I'll try, General. The iris opened. The wormhole shimmered, beckoning. They stepped through. Transit was instantaneous and disorienting. Superman's enhanced senses registered every molecule being torn apart and reconstructed 7,000 light-years away. Then they were stumbling out onto Langara's gate platform, weapons raised, senses alert. The planet was beautiful. Twin suns hung in a purple sky, casting long shadows across a valley dotted with settlements. The air smelled of something like cinnamon mixed with ozone. In the distance, a city sprawled across foothills, pre-industrial architecture with hints of advanced technology scattered throughout. Contact, 3 o'clock! Carter's warning came as figures emerged from the tree line. Not Jaffa. Humans, armed with what looked like modified staff weapons and wearing mismatched armor. Their leader, a woman in her 50s with gray-streaked hair and a plasma-burned scar across her face, lowered her weapon first. SG-1? Her accent was thick, unfamiliar. The Takare said you would come. I am Commander Kiana Sear, Langaran Resistance. O'Neill relaxed fractionally. Commander. We're here to help evacuate civilians before Anubis arrives. How many people are we talking about? Kiana's expression was haunted. 50 million across the continent. Maybe 3 million in the immediate strike zone if Anubis targets the capital. We have transport ships, salvaged gold cargo vessels, but not nearly enough. We can evacuate maybe 50,000 before he arrives. 50,000 out of 3 million. Daniel's face paled. That's a rounding error. Kiana finished bitterly. We know. But the Takare warned us Anubis is not coming for conquest. He is coming for a demonstration. To prove to the galaxy that those who defy the Goa'uld will be annihilated. Superman stepped forward. When will he arrive? Kiana studied him. The cape, the symbol, the way he stood like gravity was optional. You are the one the Takare spoke of. The alien from another world with a god's power. She didn't sound impressed. Anubis arrives in 6 hours. Our scouts detected his fleet exiting hyperspace at the system's edge 2 hours ago. He is taking his time, letting us feel fear. 6 hours. Carter was already calculating. If we focus on children and essential personnel, use every transport, we save a fraction and condemn the rest. Kiana interrupted. Unless your friend that can stop Anubis's fleet alone. All eyes turned to Superman. I can try, he said quietly. But I've never fought a space battle. I don't know the capabilities of his ships, and I don't know what ancient technology he's bringing to the fight. Then we need intelligence. O'Neill activated his radio. Hammond, we need Thor. Now. Static, then Hammond's voice. Thor's already en route. ETA 20 minutes. But Colonel, we have another problem. The Asgard detected a second fleet incoming. System Lord use forces. Looks like other Goa'uld want a piece of whatever Anubis is planning. Perfect. O'Neill muttered. A three-way battle over a defenseless planet. Just like Tuesday. Tilk's expression darkened. If you engage as Anubis, the collateral damage will be catastrophic. Hot-tack orbital bombardment will kill millions even if they avoid the cities. Superman was already moving. I'll handle evacuations. Show me where the transports are staging. Wait. Carter grabbed his arm. Clark, if you're on the ground moving civilians, you're not in position to counter Anubis when he makes his move. This could be exactly what he wants. You distracted, separated from support, vulnerable. Then he gets what he wants. Superman pulled away gently. I'm not abandoning 3 million people to save myself. Classic Kal-El, a new voice said. They spun. Homelander stood 50 yards away, floating above the Stargate platform, his suit somehow pristine despite his supposed captivity. His smile was radiant and utterly psychotic. John! Superman's voice carried warning. How did you escape? Please! Asgard containment fields are impressive, but they're designed for beings who respect physics. I just pushed harder than they calculated I could. Homelander drifted closer, his movements predatory casual. Broke out about 3 hours ago. Thor's probably still debugging his systems trying to figure out how. O'Neill raised his P90. Stand down. You're under arrest by authority of. Homelander's heat vision carved a line in the dirt 3 inches from O'Neill's boots. Don't. I came here to help, Colonel. Believe it or not, I don't want Anubis to win either. Why not? Daniel asked, genuine curiosity overriding fear. You wanted to rule this galaxy. Anubis winning means one less competitor. Anubis winning means someone else gets to dissect Clark and steal Kryptonian DNA. No. Homelander's smile never wavered. If anyone's going to benefit from our biology, it should be us. Besides, I've been thinking about what you said, Clark. About responsibility and teamwork and all that Boy Scout nonsense. And you're still wrong, but today we want the same thing, keep Anubis from winning. Homelander landed, his boots crunching on alien soil. So here's what I propose. You handle evacuations like the hero you are. I'll handle Anubis's fleet. Win-win. You can't fight a fleet alone, Carter said. Even with your powers, concentrated fire from multiple hot-tack vessels will tickle. Homelander's confidence was absolute. I've tanked nuclear weapons, sweetheart. What's Anubis going to do? Throw more staff blasts at me? I'll carve through his ships like wet paper. Tilk stepped forward, staff weapon ready. You will also kill thousands of Jaffa warriors aboard those vessels. Many serve Anubis unwillingly, believing he is their god. They deserve a chance to learn the truth, to choose freedom. They're enemy combatants. Homelander's tone was matter-of-fact. Collateral damage in war. I thought you military types understood that. We understand necessity. O'Neill said coldly. We don't celebrate it. You want to help? Fine. But you follow our rules of engagement. Disable ships when possible, avoid civilian casualties, and for the love of God, Don't start acting like the monster we all know you are. Homelander's eyes began to glow. Careful, Colonel. I don't take orders well. Then leave, Superman said flatly. We don't need your kind of help, John. Go find a planet to terrorize on your own time. My kind of help is the only thing that'll save these people, and you know it. Homelander's facade cracked, showing the rage beneath. You're so busy being noble you can't see the tactical reality. 3 million civilians, 6 hours, limited transport. Math doesn't care about your morality, Clark. People are going to die. Lots of them. Unless someone makes the hard choice. The hard choice is protecting them despite the odds. That's what heroes do. No, that's what martyrs do. And martyrs just end up dead along with everyone they were trying to save. Thunder rolled across the purple sky, but it wasn't weather. A massive ship materialized overhead, sleek and organic looking. The Asgard vessel Bilskirner, arriving exactly on schedule despite its recent containment breach. Thor's voice came through everyone's radios simultaneously. All personnel, be advised, Anubis's fleet has accelerated approach. New ETA 2 hours. I am detecting ancient energy signatures among his vessels that match our database of dimensional containment technology. If he deploys this technology, even Kal-El may be vulnerable to capture. Dimensional containment? Superman looked to Carter. Technology designed to trap ascended beings. She explained quickly. Devices that fold space around a target, creating a pocket dimension they can't escape from. If it works on energy beings, it might work on you. Might? Homelander laughed. That's comforting. Clark's about to be stuffed in an interdimensional doggy bag and you people are still pretending conventional tactics matter. Then what do you suggest? Commander Kiana demanded, her patience exhausted. We have 2 hours before annihilation. What would you do differently? Homelander's smile returned. I'd hit Anubis first. Right now. Before he's ready. Thor knows where his fleet is. I fly up there, punch through his flagship, kill Anubis before he can deploy whatever ancient nonsense he's brought, and the rest of his forces scatter. War over. Planet saved. Heroism achieved. Except you can't breathe in space. Carter pointed out. I can hold my breath for 30 minutes. More than enough time. Homelander looked directly at Superman. Or are you going to tell me that's not what you'd do in my place? The alien with all the power shows up, threatens innocent people, and you just sit here evacuating refugees one at a time? Superman's jaw clenched because Homelander was right. That was exactly the calculation running through his mind. Strike first, eliminate the threat, save everyone. It's a trap, he said finally. Anubis wants one of us to come at him directly. That's when he deploys the containment technology. So we both go. Together. Homelander extended his hand. 2 Kryptonians, or close enough. One of us is bait, the other strikes while Anubis is distracted. You know it'll work. I know I can't trust you not to massacre everyone on those ships. Then you doom 3 million people to save a few thousand Jaffa who worship a snake. Homelander's voice dropped to dangerous quiet. Your choice, Clark. Be the hero, or be effective. Clock's ticking. O'Neill stepped between them. Both of you stand down. We're not making tactical decisions based on who can yell louder. He activated his radio. Thor, can you confirm, if Homelander and Superman attack the fleet together, what are their odds? Thor's response was clinical. Uncertain. Anubis has prepared extensively for this engagement. However, a coordinated assault by both superpowered individuals would force him to divide his ancient technology between 2 targets. Probability of success increases to 47%. Those are terrible odds, Daniel said. They're better than 0. Kiana countered. Which is what we have if we sit here. Teal'c placed a hand on Superman's shoulder. The decision is yours, Kal-El. You are the warrior of honor. He is the warrior of expediency. But both are warriors, and this planet needs warriors now. Superman looked at the city in the distance, at the people living their last hours in ignorance. He looked at SG-1, Daniel nervous but determined, Carter calculating probabilities, O'Neill cynical but trusting. He looked at Homelander, who represented everything he fought against his entire life. "Fine," he said. "We go together. But John, any civilian casualties, any unnecessary killing, and I will stop you. Permanently." Homelander's grin was triumphant. "There's the Clark Kent I know. Welcome to the real world, Boy Scout. Let's go kill a god." The flight to Anubis's fleet was silent save for the wind screaming past two figures moving at velocities that made the sound barrier a suggestion. Superman led, his cape streaming behind him like a crimson comet tail. Homelander matched his pace effortlessly, that manic smile still plastered across his face. "Thor, we're approaching the outer perimeter," Superman said into his radio. "What am I looking at?" The Asgard's voice crackled through the earpiece. 3 hot-tack motherships in defensive formation. The center vessel is Anubis's flagship, significantly larger than standard configuration and modified with ancient technology. I am detecting energy signatures consistent with dimensional containment devices on all 3 ships. Kal-El, I must warn you, if they activate these devices simultaneously, even your speed may be insufficient to escape the field effect. Noted. Superman's X-ray vision penetrated the void ahead, cataloging the massive pyramid ships hanging in space like monuments to stolen divinity. Each vessel was 3 times the size of an aircraft carrier, bristling with weapons that could glass a planet. "John, we split up. You take the left flank ship, I'll take the right. Draw their fire, keep them occupied while Thor evacuates as many people as possible. And Anubis? We don't engage him directly until we understand what he's brought to the fight." Homelander's laugh was bitter. "Still playing it safe. This is why you'll never actually win, Clark. You're too afraid to take the killing stroke. I'm afraid of becoming you." Before Homelander could respond, the hot-tack vessels opened fire. Staff cannon batteries, hundreds of them, erupted in coordinated volleys. Energy blasts designed to vaporize other capital ships converged on 2 points in space. Superman twisted through the barrage, his Kryptonian physiology processing trajectories faster than computers. Heat washed over him, energy that would have killed a human 1,000 times over. He ignored it, accelerating toward the right flank vessel. Homelander simply tanked the hits, letting staff blasts explode against his chest while his heat vision carved molten lines through the void. "That all you got?" he screamed at the ships, genuinely enjoying himself. Superman hit the hot-tack's hull at Mach 15. The ancient reinforced metal crumpled like aluminum foil, and suddenly he was inside the ship, a massive hangar bay filled with death gliders and shocked Jaffa warriors. He pulled his punch, literally, using just enough force to disable weapon systems without killing. "Jaffa of Anubis." He projected his voice, letting it carry through the ship. "Your god is a false one. A parasite. You don't have to die for him. Stand down." One Jaffa, younger than the others, barely old enough for his first campaign, dropped his staff weapon. Then another. Then 5 more. The senior warrior, his armor marking him as a commander, roared defiance. "Jaffa, Kree! The intruder must die." He raised a hand device, Karakesh, channeling mental energy through Naquadah. The telekinetic blast hit Superman like a physical wall. He actually stumbled, surprised. The Goa'uld technology was affecting him more than expected, the Naquadah-based energy interfacing with his Kryptonian cells in ways that hurt. "Interesting," he muttered, then moved. He was across the hangar before the commander could blink, crushing the Karakesh in his hand without harming the warrior's arm. "I said stand down. Don't make me repeat myself." Explosions rocked the ship. Through the hull, Superman's enhanced hearing caught Homelander's laughter and the screams of Jaffa dying. No restraint. No mercy. "Damn it, John!" Superman flew toward the sound. He found Homelander 3 decks down, standing in a corridor lined with bodies. Some were merely unconscious, staff weapon stuns. Others were decidedly not. Homelander's heat vision had carved through armor, flesh, bone. "What are you doing?" Superman grabbed him, slamming him against the bulkhead hard enough to dent ancient metal. "I said no unnecessary killing." "They shot at me," Homelander said reasonably. "That seems pretty necessary to me." "What was I supposed to do? Ask them nicely to stop." "You were supposed to disable them. Like we discussed." "We discussed nothing. You gave orders." "I don't take orders." Homelander's eyes began to glow. "And if you don't get your hands off me in the next 3 seconds, we're going to have a very different conversation." Warning klaxons screamed through both ships. Thor's voice exploded through Superman's radio. "Kal-El, abort. All vessels are charging ancient containment arrays. Massive energy buildup. They're preparing to activate simultaneously." "How long?" 30 seconds. Superman released Homelander. "We need to leave. Now. Or we could finish what we started." Homelander pointed down the corridor. "Anubis's flagship is right there. I can hear his heartbeat through the hull. We punch through, we end this. It's a trap. Everything's a trap. That's war." Homelander was already moving, flying toward the flagship at speeds that turned the corridor into a blur. Superman followed, because what else could he do? Let Homelander face Anubis alone? The corporate psychopath would either die or, worse, succeed and claim godhood over this galaxy. They punched through 3 bulkheads, emerging into space between the vessels. The flagship loomed before them, and now Superman could see what Thor had warned about: crystalline structures growing across the hull, ancient technology that pulsed with sickening energy. 15 seconds. Thor's voice was pure urgency now. "The dimensional field is forming. If you're inside the perimeter when it activates..." The universe twisted. Reality folded in on itself like origami made from space-time. Superman felt it, every molecule in his body screaming as dimensional physics tried to stuff him into a space smaller than atoms. He pushed back with everything he had, his Kryptonian cells burning solar energy at catastrophic rates. Beside him, Homelander wasn't struggling. He was laughing. "You feel that, Clark? That's what real power tastes like. They can't hold us. We're gods." The containment field solidified, a sphere of compressed dimensions 500 meters in diameter with both of them at its center. Superman could see through it, could watch the Hatak vessels, could see SG-1 on Langara staring up at the sky in horror, but he couldn't reach them. The space between here and there had been folded away, replaced with infinite distance compressed to nothing. "Thor!" Superman shouted into his radio. "Can you read me?" Static. The dimensional barrier was blocking transmissions. Homelander grabbed his shoulder. "Stop panicking. This is what we wanted, Anubis bringing us to him. Now we don't have to search the ship. He's coming to us." And he was. The flagship's main hangar bay doors opened, and a figure emerged that made Superman's enhanced vision struggle to focus. Anubis was there and not there simultaneously, robed in black that seemed to absorb light, his form flickering between solid matter and pure energy. Behind his mask, something ancient and terrible watched them with the patience of eons. "Kal-El of Krypton. John of Earth." Anubis's voice resonated through the dimensional prison, carrying harmonics that suggested multiple realities speaking in unison. "Welcome. I have been waiting to meet you both since the moment you arrived in my galaxy." "Your galaxy?" Homelander scoffed. "Last I checked, there were a dozen other snakes who disagree with that ownership claim. The system lords are children playing with technology they barely understand. I am half ascended. I have touched the realm of the ancients, gained knowledge that transcends mortality." Anubis drifted closer, his form shifting between states of matter. "And you too, you are biological impossibilities. Kryptonian evolution under yellow sun radiation. Compound V restructuring human DNA in real time. Such elegant solutions to the problem of physical limitation." Superman positioned himself defensively. If you want to study us, you're going to be disappointed. We're not interested in being laboratory specimens. Oh, I have no intention of dissecting you. Not immediately. Anubis gestured, and the dimensional prison contracted. Superman felt the walls closing in, space becoming subjective. First, I will break you. Psychologically, spiritually. I will show you that power without knowledge is merely strength waiting to be controlled. And then, when you understand your place in the cosmic hierarchy, you will serve me willingly. Dream on, Darth Wannabe. Homelander's heat vision lanced out, striking Anubis' center mass. The energy passed through the half-ascended being like light through fog. Anubis didn't even acknowledge the attack. Fascinating. You genuinely believe yourselves superior because you possess abilities beyond normal humans. You have learned nothing from this galaxy. The ancients were far more powerful than you, and they still felt a plague and their own arrogance. The Asgard cloned themselves into extinction. The system lords war endlessly over scraps of territory. Anubis raised a hand, and both Superman and Homelander suddenly couldn't move. It wasn't physical restraint. Superman could feel his muscles responding, his strength intact. But the space around him refused to cooperate. Every direction he tried to move became the same direction, back to where he started. Ancient spatial manipulation. Anubis explained, almost pedagogically. You are not restrained. You are simply existing in a pocket where all vectors lead to stasis. Struggle all you wish. You only waste energy. Superman stopped struggling, conserving strength. What do you want from us? From you? Alliance. Service. Genetic material to create an army that cannot be stopped. From him. Anubis turned to Homelander. I want to understand what happens when power meets absolute narcissism. You are a cautionary tale made flesh, John. You are what the Goa'uld would be if they were honest about their nature. Homelander's eyes blazed. At least I don't hide behind mystical mumbo-jumbo and half-ascended bullshit. I'm powerful because I earned it. You were created in a laboratory by scientists playing God. I achieved partial ascension through millennia of study and sacrifice. We are not the same. Then prove it. Homelander's smile was pure challenge. Drop this dimensional circus act and fight me. One-on-one. Let's see if your ancient knowledge beats good old-fashioned American superiority. Anubis actually laughed, a sound like grinding stars. You want a fair fight? How delightfully naive. This isn't a comic book, John. This is war. And in war, there is no such thing as fair. The dimensional prison contracted further. Superman felt pressure building against his invulnerable skin. Not physical force but spatial compression that made his Kryptonian biology scream. Beside him, Homelander's confidence finally cracked into something resembling concern. Clark, he said quietly, I think we might have screwed up. You think? I mean seriously screwed up. Like dissected across multiple dimensions screwed up. Superman closed his eyes, focusing. His enhanced hearing reached beyond the dimensional barrier. Thor's ship repositioning, SG-1 on the ground coordinating evacuations, 3 million Langarans unaware their fate was being decided in a prison made of folded space-time. He had one chance. One desperate, probably suicidal chance. John, when I say now, hit me with everything you've got. Heat vision, full power. What? Why would I? Because I'm going to try something stupid. And I need as much energy as possible to pull it off. Trust me. Homelander stared at him. You're asking me to trust you? The guy who's been lecturing me about morality since we got here. I'm asking you to help me save 3 million people. Yes or no? For a moment, genuine humanity flickered across Homelander's face. Then it was gone, replaced by manic determination. Fine. But if this gets us killed, I'm haunting you. Superman smiled despite everything. Deal. Now! Homelander's heat vision erupted at point-blank range, striking Superman's chest with enough energy to melt steel. Superman absorbed it, his Kryptonian cells drinking in the radiation, converting it to raw power. Then he channeled everything, solar energy, heat vision, his own bioelectric field, into a single point. His fist. And he punched reality itself. The dimensional barrier shattered like glass struck by a meteor. Superman's punch didn't just break the containment, it tore a hole in the fabric of folded spacetime, and for one impossible moment, 3 realities existed simultaneously in the same location. Anubis's scream was both fury and fascination. Impossible! The ancient mathematics don't allow for. He never finished. The dimensional collapse created a shockwave that rippled through normal space, and Superman and Homelander exploded outward, riding the energy wave like surfers on cosmic tide. Behind them, the containment field imploded, taking a significant chunk of Anubis's flagship with it. "Thor, now!" Superman shouted into his radio as they tumbled through space. The Bilskirner had been waiting. Asgard beaming technology locked onto both figures and yanked them aboard even as Anubis's remaining Hatak vessels opened fire on the coordinates where they'd been milliseconds before. Superman materialized on the bridge, Homelander beside him, both smoking slightly from dimensional stress. Thor stood at his command console, his large eyes wider than usual. "That should not have been possible," the Asgard commander said. "Ancient dimensional mathematics are absolute. You cannot simply punch through." Kryptonian biology plus compound V heat vision apparently disagrees with ancient mathematics. Superman interrupted. "Status on Langara? Evacuations are 62% complete. Colonel O'Neill has coordinated remarkably well, but we still have over 1 million civilians planetside. Anubis's fleet is regrouping." Thor pulled up tactical displays. His flagship suffered catastrophic damage from the dimensional collapse, but he has 2 Hatak vessels still operational. He will bombard the planet within 15 minutes unless we stop him. Then we stop him. Superman moved toward the beaming platform. "Wait." Homelander grabbed his arm. "You just punched a hole in reality and nearly killed us both. You're running on fumes, Clark. I can see it. Your cells are depleted." He was right. Superman could feel it. The massive energy expenditure had drained his solar reserves. He was still powerful, but nowhere near full capacity. Another fight like that might kill him. "I don't have a choice." "Actually, you do." Homelander's expression was unreadable. "I'm still at 90%. Compound V doesn't deplete like your solar batteries. Let me handle the Hataks. You focus on evacuations." Superman stared at him. "John, if I let you engage those ships alone, I'll destroy them efficiently and with minimal Jaffa casualties. Scout's honor." Homelander's smile was almost genuine. "Look, I know you don't trust me. I know I've given you every reason not to. But right now, I'm the only piece on the board who can actually fight. So either let me help, or watch 1 million people die while you debate my moral character." Thor interjected. "He is correct. Your solar absorption rate requires approximately 4 hours to reach optimal combat capacity. Langara does not have 4 hours." Superman's jaw clenched. Every instinct screamed not to trust Homelander. But every calculation said he didn't have a choice. "Fine. But John, those Jaffa warriors are slaves. They believe Anubis is their god. If you can disable the ships without slaughtering everyone aboard, I'll try." Homelander stepped onto the beaming platform. "That's all I can promise. I'll try." Light enveloped him, and he was gone. Superman turned to Thor. "Can you monitor his actions? I will observe and intervene if necessary." Thor's fingers moved across holographic controls. "But Kal-El, you should know. Our sensors detected something during your dimensional prison escape. When you punched through the barrier, you briefly existed in a state similar to ascension. For a fraction of a second, you were pure energy." "What does that mean?" "It means your biology is even more remarkable than we understood. Kryptonian cells don't just store solar energy, they can potentially convert matter to energy and back. This is similar to what the ancients achieved through millions of years of evolution. You did it instinctively. Thor's expression was difficult to read. If Anubis had succeeded in studying you, the knowledge he would have gained would have made him unstoppable. Superman finished. I understand. Where do you need me? Langara's capital. Colonel O'Neill's team is pinned down by Kull warriors who deployed during the confusion. They need immediate assistance. Superman was on the beaming platform before Thor finished speaking. Get me down there. The transport deposited him in chaos. Langara's capital was burning, not from orbital bombardment, but from ground forces. 16 Kull warriors, just as the Takare had warned, were systematically destroying evacuation points. Their ancient design armor made them nearly invincible, and the Takare weapons could only fire every 30 seconds. Superman found SG-1 behind an overturned cargo transport, pinned by energy fire. A Kull warrior advanced methodically, its faceless helmet tracking them like a predator sensing wounded prey. Superman hit the Kull at supersonic speed. The warrior's armor absorbed most of the impact, ancient engineering at its finest, but Superman's follow-up punch sent it flying 300 yards into a stone wall. The armor cracked. Not much, but enough to show vulnerability. Clark! Carter's voice was hoarse from smoke inhalation. Thank God. We've got civilians trapped in the transit station, but 4 Kull warriors are blocking access. The Takare weapons aren't cycling fast enough. Where? Daniel pointed. 2 blocks north. Red building with the Clark, wait. Superman was already gone, a blue and red streak across the burning city. He found the Kull warriors executing their programming with mechanical efficiency, advancing on the transit station where hundreds of families huddled in terror. Children screaming. Parents shielding them uselessly against weapons that could vaporize concrete. Hey! Superman's voice carried over the carnage. Looking for a challenge? I'm right here. 4 faceless helmets turned as one. Then 4 energy weapons fired simultaneously. Superman walked through the barrage, each blast dissipating against his skin. His solar reserves were low, but not that low. He reached the first Kull, grabbed its weapon, and crushed it to scrap. Then he grabbed the warrior itself and threw it into low orbit. The second Kull adapted, its ancient armor analyzing Superman's attack pattern and adjusting. When he threw his next punch, the armor phased, became temporarily intangible, and his fist passed through empty air. Clever. Superman's heat vision carved across the warrior's chest plate. The ancient metal resisted initially, then began to glow. But not clever enough. He maintained the heat vision for 5 seconds, enough to superheat the armor to critical temperatures. The Kull warrior inside began to cook. It dropped its weapon, frantically trying to remove the armor plating. Superman helped, carefully peeling the superheated metal away without harming the warrior inside. A Jaffa emerged, younger than Tilk, terrified, his symbiote pouch glowing with distress. You're free, Superman told him. Run. The Jaffa ran. Above Langara, Homelander faced 2 Hatak vessels with nothing resembling Superman's restraint. His heat vision carved through hull plating like a blowtorch through butter, and his fists punched through ancient metal with savage efficiency. But he was keeping his word, targeting weapons systems, engines, command decks. Avoiding the troop sections where thousands of Jaffa warriors lived and died by their false gods' orders. 1 Hatak broke formation, attempting to retreat to hyperspace. Homelander flew through its hyperspace window generator, the massive ring structure that enabled faster-than-light travel. Sparks and molten metal erupted as critical systems failed. The ship went dead in space. The second Hatak changed tactics. Its hangar bays opened, releasing 200 death gliders in a coordinated swarm. Homelander's smile was transcendent. Now we're talking. He became a blur of motion and destruction. Heat vision carved through fighter wings. Physical force turned gliders into expanding fireballs. Within 90 seconds, 100 fighters were debris. The remaining pilots broke formation, fleeing in terror. But Homelander wasn't chasing. He was staring at something that had emerged from the damaged flagship. A small craft, sleeker than gliders, moving with purpose toward Langara's surface. Anubis's personal transport. The half-ascended Goa'uld wasn't fleeing. He was attacking directly. "Oh no you don't." Homelander accelerated, heat vision charging. The transport shields, ancient technology far beyond standard Goa'uld, absorbed his attack effortlessly. Homelander hit the shields physically, and they held. He hit them again. And again. Each impact drained the shields fractionally, but not enough. "Clark!" Homelander's voice carried across open comms. "Anubis is heading planet-side. I can't break through his shields." On Langara's surface, Superman had just finished incapacitating the last co-warrior when Anubis's transport screamed overhead, trailing fire and ancient energy. It crashed 3 blocks from the transit station, carving a burning path through evacuated buildings. The transport's door opened. Anubis emerged, his half-ascended form flickering between matter and energy. Behind his mask, something ancient and terrible focused on Superman with absolute intent. "Kal-El." Anubis's voice carried across the burning cityscape. "You broke my dimensional prison. You demonstrated capabilities even I did not predict. For that, I offer you one final choice. I'm not interested in your offers. Not even one that saves all these lives?" Anubis gestured to the transit station, to the families still trapped. "Join me willingly. Allow me to study your biology, and I will spare this world. Refuse, and I will demonstrate why the galaxy fears Anubis above all other system lords." Superman's fists clenched. Behind him, he could hear the civilians, mothers calling for children, fathers trying to be brave, people who had done nothing wrong except exist in a galaxy where gods demanded obedience. "How do I know you'll keep your word?" "You don't. But consider the alternative. If you refuse, I destroy this city. Then the next. Then every human world in the Gate network until you submit, or until there is nothing left to protect. At least this way, some survive." SG-1 arrived, weapons raised uselessly. O'Neill's voice was tight. "Don't do it, Kent. We don't negotiate with terrorists, and we sure as hell don't let snake gods dissect our allies." Tilk stepped forward. "Anubis lies. It is his nature. He will not honor any bargain. He will take what he wants and destroy everything regardless." "The Jaffa speaks truth," Anubis agreed casually. "I will almost certainly betray any agreement. But almost certainly offers better odds than definitely will slaughter millions. Your choice, Kryptonian. Probable betrayal or certain genocide. This is the calculus of gods." Superman looked at the transit station. At the children's faces pressed against transparent steel windows. At families who reminded him of Smallville, of Kansas, of home. He looked at SG-1. Warriors who'd fought impossible odds for years, who understood sacrifice but refused to accept surrender. He looked up, where Homelander was still battering uselessly against ancient shields, screaming obscenities at his own limitations. And he made his choice. "Thor," Superman said into his radio. "Activate the dimensional gateway. Now." "But Kal-El, the device is not complete. The survival probability is only—" "I know the odds. Do it anyway. And when the gateway activates, lock onto Anubis's signature and mine. Pull us both through." Understanding flooded the channel. "You intend to drag him into the dimensional transit with you. The sheer forces will be catastrophic for both of you." "Yeah, well..." Superman smiled grimly. "Let's see if a half-ascended Goa'uld survives better than a Kryptonian. My bet's on Kansas." Anubis realized what was happening a second too late. Light enveloped both figures. Asgard beaming technology yanking them off Langara's surface and into the Bilskerner's experimental chamber where the incomplete dimensional gateway was already powering up. "No!" Anubis's form shifted to pure energy, trying to escape. But Superman grabbed him, grabbed the energy itself, his Kryptonian cells instinctively understanding how to hold something that shouldn't be tangible. The gateway activated. Reality screamed. Superman and Anubis were torn into infinite pieces and scattered across dimensional boundaries, existing everywhere and nowhere, experiencing every possible universe simultaneously. In one reality, Superman died instantly, his molecules dissociated into quantum foam. In another, Anubis succeeded, returning to his galaxy with Kryptonian knowledge. In a third, they both survived but were flung to opposite ends of creation. But in this reality, the one that mattered, something else happened. The dimensional transit detected two energy signatures struggling against each other. One was foreign biology fighting for survival. The other was a half-ascended being trying to maintain coherence across parallel spaces. The gateway's safety protocols, designed by Asgard who valued life above all, made a choice. It ejected the stable signature and terminated the unstable one. Superman materialized in a beam of golden light on the Bilskerner's bridge, gasping, his suit torn, his body smoking from dimensional stress but alive. Whole. Home, or at least, as home as he could be in this universe. Anubis materialized as ash. The dimensional shear had caught his half-ascended form at the wrong moment, forced it to choose between energy and matter, and he'd chosen wrong. What remained scattered across the deck, inert and lifeless. Thor stared at the ashes. Anubis is dead. You killed him. No. Superman corrected, breathing hard. You did. The gateway chose which of us to save. I just gave it the choice. On Langara, the Jaffa warriors aboard Anubis's fleet suddenly felt their gods die. Some continued fighting out of habit. Others dropped their weapons, staring at hands that had committed atrocities in the name of a lie. And a few, just a few, began to understand what Tilk had learned years ago. Freedom was a choice. Homelander descended from orbit, landing beside the transit station where SG-1 was coordinating final evacuations. His suit was scorched, his expression unreadable. O'Neill looked at him warily. You followed orders. Color me shocked. Don't get used to it. But Homelander's smile held something new. Not warmth, exactly. But perhaps the faintest recognition that cooperation had value. Where's Clark? Aboard Thor's ship. Apparently, he just killed an ascended Goa'uld by dragging him through an experimental dimensional gateway. O'Neill's tone suggested he was still processing this. Your boy's got style, I'll give him that. Above Langara, in the Bilskerner's medical bay, Superman lay on an examination table while Asgard medical technology assessed the damage. Thor stood nearby, his expression thoughtful. The dimensional gateway activated prematurely due to your gambit. The energy expenditure was total. It will take months to rebuild the power reserves necessary for another attempt. Superman closed his eyes. So I'm stuck here. For now. But Kal-El, you should know. The gateway worked. For 3.7 seconds, you existed simultaneously in this universe and your home reality. We detected your home Earth. We know the coordinates now. We can bring you home. Eventually. How long? 6 months. Perhaps 8. During which time, this galaxy will need a protector. Anubis is dead, but the system lords remain. The Ori will eventually come. The replicators continue to threaten all civilizations. And Earth. Thor's voice softened. Earth has become more than an ally. It has become hope. You have shown the Jaffa that gods can die. You have shown the Tauri that heroes exist beyond their world. Do not underestimate the value of that symbol. Superman looked at the ceiling, thinking of Lois, of his parents, of a planet that needed him but would have to wait. Then I guess I'm Earth's protector for a while longer. Indeed. In Langara's capital, the last transport lifted off, carrying refugees to safety. 3 million people had been saved. Not by superior technology or overwhelming force, but by coordination, sacrifice, and 2 aliens who chose to be better than their power demanded. SG-1 watched the ships depart, exhausted but alive. We won, Daniel said, sounding surprised. We survived, O'Neill corrected. There's a difference. But yeah, Jackson. Today, we survived. Teal'c placed a fist over his heart, a salute to the sky where Superman fought for people not his own. And Homelander, standing apart from the others, stared at his hands, hands that had killed and saved in equal measure today, and felt something he never experienced before. The weight of choice. The possibility of redemption. The faintest, most fragile understanding that power without purpose was just destruction waiting to happen. He hated it. But he couldn't quite shake it either. Above them all, the Stargate stood silent, its chevrons dark, waiting for the next mission, the next crisis, the next impossible choice that would define what it meant to be human, or Kryptonian, in a galaxy where gods were real and heroes had to be forged. 6 weeks after Anubis's death, Superman stood in the SGC briefing room, examining intelligence reports with the practiced efficiency of someone who'd become part of the infrastructure. The galaxy hadn't stopped threatening Earth just because one half-ascended Goa'uld was gone. System Lord Baal was making moves in the power vacuum. The Ori's advanced scouts, mysterious energy signatures from the Ancient's origin galaxy, were being detected at the edge of explored space. The replicators continued their inexorable consumption of Asgard-controlled sectors. But Earth endured. The Jaffa Rebellion, inspired by footage of Anubis's defeat, was spreading like wildfire through System Lord territories. Teal'c reported that Bratak had recruited 3 new battalions in the past month alone, all citing the Kryptonian who refused godhood as proof that the Goa'uld could be defeated. "You've become a symbol," Carter said, joining him at the table. She held a tablet displaying Takare intelligence. Intercepted communications showing Jaffa warriors arguing whether Kal-El was real or mythology. "The galaxy's talking about you. Some call you savior. Others call you the greatest threat to Goa'uld dominion in 10,000 years. And what do you call me?" Superman asked. Carter smiled. "A good man who happened to crash through our iris at exactly the right time. Also, someone who needs to stop reading mission reports during downtime. Even you need rest, Clark." He set down the intelligence folder. "How's the dimensional gateway progressing? Thor's team is ahead of schedule. For months now, maybe less. You'll get home." She hesitated. "Do you want to?" Superman looked around the briefing room, walls covered with gate addresses, photos of SG teams lost in service, mission patches celebrating victories and mourning failures. This wasn't his world. These weren't his people. But they'd become something close. "Yes," he said finally. "My Earth needs me. But I'll miss this. The work you do here, the choices you make, it reminds me why the symbol on my chest matters. Hope isn't just about power. It's about people refusing to surrender even when the odds are impossible." Footsteps announced O'Neill's arrival, with Daniel and Teal'c following. "Hate to interrupt the philosophical moment, but we've got a situation. Homelander's requesting permission to join SG-2 on a mission to P7X377. Apparently he's bored." Superman's expression tightened. Homelander had been complicated. Since Langara, he'd followed protocols, mostly. Participated in 3 successful missions. Saved SG-9 from a Goa'uld ambush with minimal collateral damage. But the underlying narcissism remained, the hair-trigger violence barely contained by the thinnest veneer of cooperation. "What kind of mission?" Superman asked. "Reconnaissance. Takare intelligence suggests an abandoned ancient outpost. Low risk, high value if we can recover any technology." O'Neill's tone suggested he was deeply suspicious of the word low risk. "Problem is, Homelander keeps pushing for more responsibility. Hammond's inclined to let him prove himself, but you don't trust him." Superman finished. "Would you? The guy's a megalomaniac with heat vision and zero impulse control. He's been good for 6 weeks. That's not a pattern, that's a probationary period." O'Neill looked at Superman directly. "You know him better than anyone. Can he actually change, Or is he just playing nice until he gets what he wants? Superman considered the question he'd been avoiding since Langara. Could Homelander change? The man who terrorized innocents, who'd murdered anyone who challenged his supremacy, who'd built an entire persona on being worshipped, could that person become something better? I don't know, he admitted. But I know what happens if we don't give him the chance. He goes back to seeing himself as a god among insects. The cooperation ends. And eventually, someone dies. So we enable him? Daniel's voice carried frustration. Hope he magically develops empathy? We hold him accountable, Tilk said quietly. As we hold all warriors accountable. Kal-El was not born noble. He was raised to be so. Perhaps John can be taught what he was never taught before. O'Neill sighed. Great. We're running a reform school for sociopathic superheroes now. Hammond's going to love this in the after-action report. 3 levels down, in quarters that had been modified to contain someone who could punch through walls, Homelander sat on a standard-issue military cot and stared at his reflection in polished metal. 6 weeks of playing team player. 6 weeks of following orders, saving ungrateful humans, pretending their approval mattered. But something had changed in those 6 weeks. Something he couldn't quite identify. On Langara, when he'd disabled those Hotak vessels, when he'd held back from slaughtering every Jaffa aboard, he'd felt something. Not guilt, exactly. Not compassion in the traditional sense. But satisfaction. Real satisfaction, not the hollow validation that came from terrified worship. He'd accomplished something that mattered. Protected people who would never know his name, never build statues in his honor. And it had felt right. In a way that all his manufactured heroism at Vought never had. It was deeply annoying. A knock on his door. Superman entered without waiting for permission, one of the few beings who could risk that presumption. Heard you volunteered for SG-2's mission, Superman said. Figured I should make myself useful. You're leaving eventually. Someone needs to pick up the slack. Homelander's tone was casual, but his eyes were serious. Besides, ancient technology sounds interesting. Might be something in there that could help with your dimensional gateway. Get you home faster. Superman studied him. That's almost considerate. Don't get used to it. Homelander stood, adjusting his suit in that habitual gesture of vanity. But Clark, I've been thinking. About what you said on Langara. About responsibility. About power being wasted if it's just used to dominate. And you're still wrong. Power is power. It doesn't have morality attached. Homelander's smile was complicated. But maybe how you use it matters. Maybe the farm boy isn't completely full of shit. Maybe. It wasn't redemption. It wasn't even close to heroism by Superman's standards. But it was a start. Try not to destroy any ancient artifacts, Superman said. And John? If you save SG-2, actually let them thank you this time. Don't fly off before they can acknowledge what you did. Why would I care about their gratitude? Because gratitude means they see you as an ally, not a weapon. There's a difference. Homelander considered this. Fine. I'll accept their pathetic human thanks. Happy? Ecstatic. As Superman left, Homelander returned to his reflection. An ally, not a weapon. A protector, not a god. The idea was still foreign. Still uncomfortable. But 6 weeks ago, it would have been unthinkable. In the gate room, technicians prepared for SG-2's departure. Across the galaxy, system lords plotted in the shadow of Anubis's death. The Ori's heralds drew closer to known space. The replicators consumed another Asgard colony. And on Thor's ship, the dimensional gateway's construction continued piece by careful piece, promising to return Superman home in 4 months. 4 months to help Earth defend itself. 4 months to train teams, to inspire Jaffa rebels, to stand against threats that saw humanity as prey. 4 months to prove that symbols mattered, that hope was real, even in a universe where false gods were truth and heroes had to be forged in fire. The Stargate activated, chevrons locking with familiar precision. SG-2 prepared to step through, with Homelander waiting to join them, still dangerous, still unstable, but perhaps, incrementally, learning what it meant to be more than power incarnate. Superman watched from the control room as they departed, O'Neill beside him. "Think we're doing the right thing?" the colonel asked. "Trusting him?" "No," Superman admitted. "But I think we're doing the necessary thing. And sometimes, that's all heroes get to work with." "Deep. You should write fortune cookies." Superman smiled. 4 months. Then home. But until then, Earth had its defenders. Flawed, stubborn, impossibly brave defenders who'd proven that even against gods and ascended beings and the darkness between stars, humanity refused to surrender. The gate shut down behind SG-2. The iris sealed. And somewhere in the galaxy, the next crisis was already forming, waiting for heroes to answer its call. Indeed. Hit the subscribe button for more interesting stories. Thank you for watching.